What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm an ambiguous villain from your past.
And I'm an important woman in your life who may or may not die.
And this is mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
This week, Mission Impossible. I already forgot. Dead Reckoning Part 1. I'm telling you, the names are all interchangeable. It could easily be Fallout. Maybe not Rogue Nation, but yeah, it is Dead Reckoning Part 1. Very excited to talk about this. We are going to talk about it in the terms that are acceptable. We're no wheel. And then we decided this, because of SAG writers or actor strike, none of the guests that come on the show are going to be able to promote their material. So we're not going to ask Michael Caine or Mark Wahlberg what they're doing next time. That we think is fair. So yeah, very good stuff. How are you guys doing this fine week?
Doing good. Doing good, I think. How about you guys? How are you doing?
Life continues to be an inevitable march towards death.
Wow. I mean, sure, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm the opposite. I feel like we're getting closer to that immortality. You know, we're going to download our brains into the computer, never die. If anybody on Earth thinks they can do that, it's Tom Cruise. Like, I feel like we just watched a movie made by a man who thinks nothing can kill him. And maybe he's right, you know?
He might be.
Nothing has so far.
So far, exactly. He's like 1 for 1 in not being killed so far. So, way to go, Tom. Speaking of Tom, yeah, let's talk about the actors and writer strikes and all that stuff. You guys, the actors went on strike this week. That's the news of the week.
Yeah, they joined the writers on the picket line.
Very, very true. Incredible. Good for them, I guess. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, good for them. It's interesting that, like, the parts of this that are the news are, like, the nanny and the tree thing, which we'll talk about. But how great was it to see Fran Drescher back out and about?
She's back, baby.
She's back in a big way.
And, you know, a lot of people were doubting her because she was hanging out with Kim Kardashian and saying some other stuff before all this happened.
I forgot. Yeah, what was that? I couldn't remember what we didn't, what people were, like, concerned about. Was it just Kim Kardashian? It's never a good sign.
She'd made some statements that were along the lines of like, oh, you know, everything's hard and, you know, we understand their position and we really don't want there to be a strike. And then people were like, oh, she's going to sell us out. But it turns out, no. Okay. And then she gave that big speech. Did
she, right before she went into the room to do the negotiations, did she do that thing that the John Lovitz character did on SNL where she went, I was acting that whole time. Actually, I approve of the strike. Because she's an actor. You can't trust any of them.
That's true. Just like Cillian Murphy talking about how he used to fake orgasms.
What?
Wait, what? Say more, good
Cillian.
sir.
I gotta make a call, you guys. This is not acceptable. No, what is this?
I have no idea why this came up. I only saw a snippet of the interview, but an interviewer was asking him, like, you ever fake an orgasm? And he was like, yeah. I mean, not often, but I've done it. It's when I was younger.
What an incredible actor.
Like,
that's wild.
They said, did your partner know? And he's like, no, I'm an actor.
Cool. It's pretty cool.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Good for him, I guess.
I mean, like, yeah, he's, you know, he seems like he's doing great. He's having a week. He's confessing to all these apparently bizarre stories. So that's great. Like, I feel like he's probably wanted to get that off his shoulders for a while. You know, I bet every ex of his is like going through all their encounters, like the end of The Usual Suspects, just trying to remember, was it me? Am I the person that he faked it with? But yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but there's sex scenes in this Oppenheimer movie. So it's the sexiest Cillian Murphy's been in a while.
What was the last time he's been this sexy?
That little cameo in Dark Knight Rises where he's the judge, scarecrow judge. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right, he's like,
I sentence you to death.
Yeah, an exile by death or something.
Yeah.
Like, very cute. Very good. Yeah, we'll talk about Oppenheimer next week or something. I don't know what we're doing for this yet. I was thinking about this because I wanted to ask, are we going to do... I think we had said we wanted to do Barbie next week.
Yeah.
Instead of Oppenheimer. But do you think you'll both have seen both or do you think you're going to take some time on Oppenheimer?
I'm Barbenheimering it up, baby.
Right. But yeah, DJ, what is your plan?
So I am certainly not Barbenheimering because I have a child. However, I do believe I will have seen both by the time we next meet. Now, I know the answer to this question, but I just want to throw it out there. We can't do a Barbenheimer podcast, right?
I think we can do a Barbenheimer podcast in that it's a Barbie podcast where we also briefly talk about Oppenheimer and the stuff we liked and stuff we didn't like about it. I think there's two things that are kind of nitpickable about it that I'm curious what other people think about them.
I think what we should do is we should put up a poll asking people, do they want us to talk about Barbie or do they want us to talk about Oppenheimer? And then we take the result of that poll, and the percentages are the exact skew of how much we talk about both movies on the podcast.
That'd be really fun.
So if it ends up like 70% for Barbie, 30% for Oppenheimer, we spend 70% of the podcast talking about Barbie and 30% of the podcast talking about Oppenheimer.
So if you guys want to be really upsetting to some people who won't understand this because they didn't listen to this episode, but they will listen to the Barbenheimer episode, 99 Oppenheimer, 1 Barbie. That would be so funny. Welcome to the Barbenheimer movie podcast. First of all, what about those shoes? All right, let's talk about Oppenheimer. Really pretty incredible sound mixing, right? Let me go through it scene by scene. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Diggins. And yeah, I think I'll have seen both. And I think most people, I feel like a lot of people are doing the Barbenheimer thing. You know who's really doing it? That one Twitter bot that's asking everyone if they want to buy that shirt. Have you guys encountered this yet?
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, there's a Twitter bot that every time people post the word Barbenheimer, it posts the same link to this shirt and goes, oh my God, can't believe this shirt. And it's pretty funny. It's funny when you can identify a bot and like go like, here it comes. It's
it turns out this was too easy.
Yeah. Before we get to that, before we get to more conversation about bots and such, I did want to touch on one other thing about the strike that I think is interesting, which is something DJ doesn't know or hasn't heard about, but I have, and Diggins has, is the tree stuff. So do you have any guess at what the tree stuff is, or like what the tree business is?
I can barely wage, like, okay, I'm going to sound so dumb, but when has that stopped me before? Okay, I know that, like, on the picket lines that there are signs that are being used. Is it possible that the lumber that's being used for the signs are coming from trees where it's, like, illegal or whatever?
Ooh, that would be interesting.
Is that what this is?
DJ, you have chosen the wrong side.
That's true, but I think that's a great option in the future. That'd be something. I'm sure there's a Hollywood executive right now that's scribbling that down. Ooh, the signs are illegal. They're actually the tree villains in this story. But no, it is in fact that. So the story is, do you know what lot this is? Is it Warner, I think?
I think it might have been Paramount.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know it's not, it wasn't Disney, but yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm going to look it up while you talk.
One of the lots that is being picketed outside by the writers and actors has a bunch of trees on the sidewalk that
Universal.
Universal. Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. So Universal has like a bunch of trees, just normal trees that would be on the sidewalk. So, they're there and providing wonderful shade to all of the picketers, or would be, I guess. I don't even know if any picketing had started by the time they did this, but someone who could guess who cut down all the branches off the trees. So they're big old barren trees in the middle of the street so that the people protesting, I mean, maybe not so that, who knows, maybe it's because the people protesting now won't have shade in the 90 to 100 to 150 because our world is, a burning hellscape, but very, very hot weather. And this went around Twitter yesterday or the day before when people were like, look what they did. And then Diggins, do you want to finish the story? The finishing the story part's the fun part.
So what Universal didn't count on, what they didn't realize is that they have invoked the specter of tree law.
Yep.
Which is to say, Universal doesn't own those trees. Those are public property of the city. And
shit.
You're not allowed to just trim them. Like, you need permits. You need approval by the city to do things like that. And so when it got attention on Twitter and elsewhere that this had happened, the city opened an investigation like, hey, we didn't send anyone to trim those trees, so it's time to find out what happened. And there's actually pretty hefty fines for doing stuff like that because tree law is genuinely serious.
Yep.
But Diggins, I am a corporation with a lot of money, so I'm allowed to do whatever I want, including tree murder.
Now, it's true that if the penalty for something is a fine, then it's just legal for rich people.
That's right.
Right.
However, I will say frequently tree law also has pretty stringent requirements about replacing or, otherwise healing said trees. So we'll see what Universal ends up having to do.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I don't know who could help with this. What Universal characters are like? Do you think they could get some minions and just staple them to the trees instead of like leaves? Or could the Fast family, could Groot himself use his powers to turn the trees back to life?
Oh, but he's not owned by NBC Universal.
He's not owned, but certain character is. Dominic Toretto, I assume, also has Groot powers.
I think the Fast family are going to drive through the California redwood forest with such like speed and force that they crash into some trees that then go flying and land perfectly, planting themselves in those lots.
I like that.
Guys, which member of the Fast family is going to break the strike? Who's the scab in that family?
Ooh.
I mean,
is it Tyrese? Or is it Vin Diesel, maybe? Has he done anything to anger the strikers recently?
I think, like many of the larger celebrities, he's mainly staying silent.
Okay, yeah, because I could see the what's his name, Hobbs, busting up some of this union types. I don't know. Can't tell where he lands politically. Shaw, on the other hand, would be well on the lines with all the striking workers. He seems like a man of the people, even though he has a champagne problem. Or that was a line from one of them.
You know who would break the line?
Who?
Brian, because he's a cop.
That's true.
Oh shoot, that he is a cop. Yeah, and he's a replaced face actor now, which the studios love.
Yeah,
that would make them very happy.
The proposal that they had put forward, where they're like, "Hey, if you're a background actor, then we'll scan your face and we're allowed to use your likeness forever without paying you," is insane.
It's insane, but here's what I wish would happen. I wish one guy did it, just one, who had a kind of interesting face. And forever in movies, we just always see him in the background. We go, "Where's Tim? There he is. He's fighting fucking Superman over there." Yeah. Like, it's because it's so stupid. It's such a dumb idea. But, like, the studios, they couldn't help themselves. If they had one free guy they could always use, they'd put him in everything. He'd be hanging out with the minions in the next one.
Well, it's
like a new crew.
When laugh tracks used to get used, like, if you listen to them enough, you could identify, like, individual laughs within them that would get repeated all the time.
Mm-hmm. And complaints about the taxi companies. You hear that a lot in the background of most of those.
That's
true. You really pay attention if you listen. Yeah, so the tree law part's pretty wild. It's pretty good.
So I have a question, kind of going back to that face scanny thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, the ability for them to do all that AI stuff, like what they did with, like, Harrison Ford in Indy, that still requires, like, a human person, right? Like, a human has to go in and, like, do that work, like some computer animator or whatever.
For now.
Why?
Here's the thing, DJ.
Why don't those people unionize?
I was going to say, I know what your question is. The answer is those people don't have a union yet.
Yeah.
But why shouldn't they?
They should.
Like, wait,
oh, yeah.
In fact, they should.
We're so valuable.
Hey, if we have any listeners who are CGI artists, which, like, I mean, good on you. We're very mean to you frequently.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to unionize when this whole big push is happening generally.
Yeah, honestly, as much as, like, the writers unionizing hurts the studios, and then as much as the actors unionizing hurts the studios, the CGI artists unionizing would definitely destroy most of the things they're working on. I would love to see them try to scab that, though, with just, like, people like Falcon and whatever, Captain America 4 cuts to, like, an action figure of Falcon flying across the sky or something instead of all the fights.
Well, because all of these, like, you know, movie execs are like, "Oh, we'll just, like, use AI to, like, solve all of our problems." But, like, they don't know how. Like, they don't know how to use AI.
Well, dude, come on. They're studio executives. They don't know how to do anything.
Right, exactly.
And, I mean, you know, using AI is pretty tricky. until there's a program you can use to use the AI made of AI, and then it'll be a little bit easier to use.
There we go.
I mean, AI can probably, like, that's the thing about the background extras thing. I get it. I understand what they wanted. What I don't understand is AI can do good fake faces. Like, why even, and I'm not giving the studios any free ideas, but why didn't they just do that? Or did they? And then we just didn't find out. But like, why bother paying people at all? They would say. Maybe they're not as good as you would want yet. Maybe they didn't want you to be able to pause the flash and find a guy with 2 mouths or something. But yeah, maybe you can. I don't know. I haven't watched it again yet on VOD, but clips of Flash are going around. You guys remember Flash?
That the microwave scene just in nonstop
in reverse. Yep, it's funny every time. I love it.
People are like, "Why did they do this?" Which is a great question. Why did they do this?
Yeah, you can ask that at pretty much any point in that movie, and then it's like, it's honestly, it'll probably go down as one of the great questions. You get your, Film 101 textbook and you open it up and it's like, this is the guy that invented the camera. All right, here's the Flash chapter. We're going to go through every single frame of this movie and go, what was that? What were they thinking? We're right here. Why did they have to put so much emphasis onto the sandwich? We don't know. They just thought it was cool. They were really impressed with the sandwich. But you guys, speaking of, does anybody eat in this movie?
Okay. Does anyone eat?
Is this one of these movies where nobody ever eats?
I think
on the train car, on the fancy train car.
I don't think anyone's eating. They're just, background people might be eating.
Right. I think if any character in this was gonna eat, I'm gonna bet it would be Shea Wiggum, and he would have like a big plate of spaghetti or something that Ethan Hunt would knock over as he runs by him or something. But like, I don't think that happened in this movie.
In one scene.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, yeah, I don't think there was a lot of eating. I would also say maybe Ving Rhames. I feel like he's had scenes where he's like hanging out in the van and like snacking on a little, lollipop or something.
Genuinely, unironically love that Tom Cruise has agreed to set up for Ving Rhames a recurring role in a franchise where he never has to stand.
It's wild, dude. It's wild.
I'm happy.
It's the whole movie.
I hope Ving Rhames has people to carry him through the set too. And he never has to stand the whole time he's there. Just like a litter, like Cleopatra. Just they put Ving Rhames and they carry him to the boat or the next set or whatever it is they're gonna film on, and he's just treated like a king.
He deserves it.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about the movie where no one eats. As far as I know, I mean, they go to a party, right? That big party.
Well, yeah, but it's like a rave.
That's a rave.
Yeah.
They order drinks. Does that count?
If they chew on the ice, it counts for me.
If they chew on the ice, then they're dead to me.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't like ice chewers? Really?
Ugh, horrible.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, in parts of this movie, the food fights back. It becomes a big hazard. So if they wanted to make it a thing, if they wanted to make it a motif, you could have all the things that they're. Well, we'll get to it. But you guys, we're talking about Mission Impossible, whatever it is called, Dead Reckoning. Mm-hmm. Incredible. DJ.
Yeah.
As the winner of last week's IMDb Bee is in Spelling Bee for Haunted Mansion, or The Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
You get to go first.
Yes.
In explaining it to us. And
yes.
You're first and only as far as I'm concerned. But yeah.
Before I go, I would like to say I've been a little bit more active in the Mostly Nitpicking channel on the Nando V Movies Discord, The Phoenix Rises.
Mm-hmm.
So this first came to me via someone DM'd me on Instagram, and then I posted it in the channel. And the suggestion was for the IMDb Bees and Spelling Bee, we always say like it's the IMDb Beesman. Should it be the IMDb Keeper?
Oh, that's
like
a good one.
So everyone on the Discord agreed that it should be IMDb Keeper.
I think we should call it the IMDb movie, as in B movie.
Well,
that's interesting.
Maybe we could call it the IMDb Lover, as in she loves the bee. The human woman loves the bee in the B movie.
Or the IMDb Benson, as in Barry B. Benson from the B
that's
movie.
Pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. We could try Beekeeper for a little bit, see what happens. And that was right after that came from Supreme Court Justice Roger used that word recently, and that's about as high as this goes. So that
as
feels
we
pretty
learned
good.
recently, if the Supreme Court says something, then there's literally nothing anybody can ever do about it in the history of humankind.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, we've got so we'll figure that out. Maybe that'll be a poll too. I don't know. But
everything's not just a poll.
There's plenty of time for polls.
All right. So anyway, I am the IMDb Keeper for now for this movie. So we play a game every week where we have to guess what the summary is for the movie based on IMDb.com. I bet you're wondering how do they get this summary. And it's actually pretty simple. It's AI. They just use AI.
Yeah,
it was AI in a submarine, and then it was AI in just I guess still a submarine, but usable elsewhere. It's in a club. But it's AI and it's everywhere. And they just, plug the AI in. Hey, make me a summary for this movie. And the AI watches the movie and then makes a summary. And, you think like, is it really that simple? Should it be more complicated? It's a little more complicated. Like there's a guy who represents the AI. And that's like confusing. Like, why is a guy representing the AI? But he's the one who's like, the IMDb summary is as determined by the AI.
Right.
And you're like, again, like, why is it a person? But, because it has to be, really, when it comes down to it. It has to be a person who says what the AI is doing for the movie. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense, right? I think we could all agree that it needs to be a guy.
I mean, it makes
For now.
sense that these are written by AI, considering that they are often not great and frequently wrong.
Yeah, they make stuff up sometimes to just sound like what an IMDb summary would sound like. Honestly, this explains a lot. Like, I think the gods that we're interpreting from the center of the earth in a lot of these summaries also might be using AI to write the summaries that they write, because these just do feel like AI a lot.
Well, I will say this to help you guys out. I think the AI for this summary, it is brief and accurate.
Is it from the perspective of AI? Is it like a bunch of villains try to stop a heroic AI that's trying to save everyone? Pretty good. So you said brief but accurate?
Yeah, brief but accurate.
All right. Diggins, as the loser last week, you get to go first. DJ, do you have tiebreakers?
All right. I'm so glad you asked, and I'm going to get them right now.
I mean,
And by
Hopefully
go
Diggins
first,
didn't
you
do
get
so
to
much
choose
research.
if you want to go first. Or not.
I feel like with this one, it's we'll see if we have to get the tiebreakers.
all right. Okay, I'm going to go first. I choose myself.
Okay.
And my summary is IMF agent Ethan Hunt must work with some old friends to stop a global threat like none he has ever faced before.
God damn it. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to change a couple things, but it's like there's so few things it can be that, like, I'm going to just say mine as if I had not heard his. So some of it might sound right. Some of it might sound like different. But I'm going to say IMF agent Ethan Hunt and his team need to work together to stop a dangerous... do I want to call it entity? No, I don't. I say to stop a new threat that could destroy the world. You know what? Screw it. Could destroy the world.
Nano, could you say yours one more time?
You tell me what you think I said, and that was
wrong
right, and then I'll
you
just
said
say
was.
that part.
Because I can't. You stopped in the middle and said a bunch of stuff, and then you went like.
Oh yeah, I
man.
don't think the summary said. Would the summary say Ethan Hunt or not? Like that part was me, but the part that
there's like a.
although
there's a word,
an AI one would say that.
There is a word that I don't know if you included that like is the crux of whether you won or not.
So I did not use the word entity officially in my summary. I was wavering on it, but I didn't. If that's what you're going for, because it sounds like that is what you're going for.
No, it's not. I'm going to give it to Nando.
Okay.
I think this is bullshit of the highest caliber.
Wow.
Well, let's
I'd
talk
love
about
to hear it.
Ethan Hunt and his IMF team must track down a dangerous weapon before it falls into the wrong hands.
The team. You got to mention the team.
And you said dangerous, but then didn't say dangerous, which really confused me. But it sounded like you went with dangerous.
I like that. I think that's a good idea. I mean, listen, me calling them his team is pretty good. And that's as much
fair.
as it takes for me to win, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it's tough with this one because you have to be so vague, kind of. And by the end of the movie, calling it the weapon seems like an understatement, like underselling kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But before seeing the movie, I think that feels right.
Yeah, because I even think the trailers are kind of like you have an idea of what it is, like it's some kind of like technology, but yeah, like is it really a weapon? It's like it's more than a weapon. But.
And these movies are notoriously like, vague about what the weapon actually does most of the time anyway. So like you could just say like a weapon, and it's like that might as well be what the characters are saying in some of these. Just we got to get the weapon. But with this one, I think they give it a little bit more zhuzh than usual.
The thing that they're going after is usually a MacGuffin of the strictest definition.
Exactly. And, you know, like I was saying, kind of getting into my summary, they use a word that, boy, if you've ever wanted to hear that word said a million times in a row, lucky you, because they got it for you here, baby. But
well, that being said, Diggins, you must summarize this movie for the audience.
incredible.
And us.
I've been robbed. We've all been witness to a robbery here. I think we can all agree. DJ Nando's probably bought his mom a house or whatever the newest ones are. There's so many ones that I can't keep track of.
Yeah, there are some new ones.
He already paid for Jackson's full ride tuition to any school that I want.
Listen, Diggins, that seat on my yacht would have gone empty were DJ not the one who sat in it. So did I give it to him? Not really, you know?
So, everybody, our favorite guy is back, Ethan Hunt, except that's not how the movie starts. The movie starts underwater with a Russian guy doing some voiceover. And in the voiceover, he says the words Dead Reckoning. The last time you will hear those words in that movie. It turns out it is a super secret Russian sub with advanced stealth capabilities that they've been testing out, having it sail all over the world and go near navies. So to see if the navies notice them, and none of them have. Whoa, big success. But then, after they lock up the big blinking lights on their sub with a very elaborate key that they then wear around their necks, two different people. There's a guy who has a ship that seems to notice them, and then the ship fires a torpedo at them, and they're like, "Oh no!" So they fire a torpedo back at it, and then launch a bunch of countermeasures. But it's not working. The torpedo's going to hit them, except it doesn't. And it turns out there was no torpedo, and there was no ship. Whoa, what's going on? Crazy. And then right when they're relaxing and thinking like, well, that was really weird, but I guess everything's okay, their torpedo starts circling back towards the sub, and they can't turn it off. Nothing's working. And the torpedo crashes into the sub, and the sub is destroyed, and everybody dies. Then we see our good friend Ethan Hunt, who gets a new mission from his Grubhub driver.
Yeah.
The mission is that there's some very important keys that are somewhere. One of them is in the hands of his old friend, Ilsa Faust.
Who?
Ilsa Faust. She was in the last two of these. Come on.
Sure she was.
She was like the deuteragonist. Come on.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, there's a bounty on her head because she stole this key from somebody who in Istanbul. So Ethan Hunt goes to save her. She's hiding out in Saudi Arabia, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah.
I think it says near the border to Yemen, which could be either Saudi Arabia or Oman. They don't think they specify. Anyway, he goes. The bounty hunters are there too, and they have a big fight. He finds Ilsa, and oh no, she's dead. So he goes and does a latex mask to sneak into a meeting between a bunch of the heads of the security forces in America, like the CIA and the NSA and all of them.
Like, Jesus Christ. You guys don't have a scanner for the masks you make? Come on, guys.
You've had these masks since the first movie.
It's like I'm watching Secret Invasion all over again. It's like, you guys know you could do this. Why does no one care? Ugh.
Anyway, in this big secret meeting, they're talking about what they want the keys for. It seems the keys, they don't know how or where, but the keys would allow you to control a being, creation. I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking of a word for what this thing is. Can you guys help me out?
Oh man, this is so hard because there's so many good ones. I can't even pick just one. Device.
Big computer man.
Persona.
Persona's a good one.
Yeah.
Rensona.
Ooh, Persona 5. People like that one.
Yeah.
That might be the favorite of the Personas. Yeah. We could just call it Rensona for now.
Let's go
come
with
up with something clever for it later.
Okay. So there's this Rensona that they don't know where it came from, but it exists on the internet. It's an AI that exists on the internet, goes around, has broken into everything, stole like a learning model from the Saudis, or something, and became even smarter. And now it's broken into like every secret government thing in every country, but didn't do anything. It just broke in and left behind evidence that it was there, like some kind of warning, a called shot. And so now
some kind of dead reckoning.
Some kind of dead reckoning. Yep. So everybody is scrambling to find these keys that would let them control it, so that it won't be a threat to them. But right as they're discussing all this, and someone gets told about the Impossible Missions Force because it's super secret, Ethan Hunt gasses everybody except for his boss, Kittredge, who hasn't been around since the first movie. So what a comeback for Henry Czerny.
Where's he been this whole time? Ethan Hunt's been disavowed like 50 times. Where have you been, Kittredge? We really would have used you in the whole Ghost Protocol business or Rogue Nation or whatever. Like, man, is Alec Baldwin and this guy, do they hang out? Like, I just assume this character is dead.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore. Because he died in the last one, right?
Yeah, Alec Baldwin's dead.
Yeah. But like, I just figured, I don't know. I just figured this guy's gone, but he's back. He's been hanging out the whole time. Good for him.
They have a conversation where Ethan Hunt's like, actually, I'm going to destroy this Rensona because I think it's a power that nobody should have. So Kittredge goes like, okay, well, I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to send my best man, Shea Wiggum, to go stop Ethan Hunt. And Shea Wiggum is the man that Ethan Hunt already knocked out and pretended to be to get into this meeting. So I feel like Kittredge should have thought about this a little more.
Yeah,
is he Shea Wiggum in that scene?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
totally.
I forgot about that.
Anyway, Ethan Hunt meets up with his old pals Benji and Luther to talk about all this stuff. And they're like, well, that sounds really bad, but we're in. So they go to, they have one of the keys because Ethan got the key from Ilsa. Because it turns out she's not dead. Ethan helped her fake her death and then told her to go into hiding so that she wouldn't get hunted anymore.
Smart.
But he has the key that she got. And so they're pretending to sell it so that they assume the buyer will be the person who has the other half of the key. So they will.
And for some reason, the only way to guarantee that you got a key from someone is to plug your key into it. And then if they light up, that means it's a good key and not a fake.
Yes, right? That's the only way to determine that the key is real. So they have set up a whole handoff where they're going to sell it, but really they're going to steal both of them from this guy. And they go to the Dubai airport to do that. I forget exactly what they're doing in the airport.
Just doing the exchange with the guy, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think they're even doing the exchange. I think they're just making sure that he gets on the plane.
Oh, yeah, because they need to know what the key goes into. That's like the big thing. It's like we don't know when the key opens.
Yeah. So they're like following him. But while they're following him, 3 things happen. 1, Shea Wiggum and his guys show up looking for Ethan. 2, somebody drops a suitcase off at the baggage check that has a bomb in it. And 3, their guy gets pickpocketed by Haley Atwell.
Yep.
And she steals all the stuff off him, including the keys. So Luther does some computer bullshit to help Ethan not get caught. Benji goes off to baggage claim or baggage processing or whatever you call it to find the bomb and defuse it, while Ethan tracks down Haley Atwell and gets the stuff back. Haley Atwell is a really good pickpocket, but it turns out that Tom Cruise also does close-up magic.
Yeah, the close-up magic is back.
Yeah, I can't tell you
here.
how happy I was, how big a factor close-up magic was in this movie.
Mm-hmm. If anything, I wish they didn't because that moment wasn't the trailer, and I was like kind of waiting for it. But if I had seen that for the first time in the movie, it would have blown my mind.
Anyway, so they do that. Ethan gets it back from her, but then he realizes that stuff's going wrong and he's being watched. So he and Haley Atwell start trying to make their way out of the airport while also slipping the key back into that guy's pocket without him ever realizing anything went wrong. But it all goes to shit. That guy gets shot by Palm Clementif.
Mantis herself.
Mantis herself.
Right.
Haley Atwell gets away with the key and the money. And Benji finds the bomb and successfully defuses it with a bunch of help from Luther and Tom Cruise.
And voice activated bullshit.
And voice activated stuff. But it turns out
great scene.
Turns out there was no bomb in it after all. And he had to just go through this whole ordeal for no reason.
Honestly, like, I figured there should have at least been like a Riddler trophy in there or something that he got to take home. And
Yeah,
look
right.
at what I did. I solved the puzzle. Because it was a lot of work. And yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like a code or anything. He has to like answer questions about himself and solve riddles. It's very involved.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so everything's gone bad. They do manage to escape Shea Wiggum. And they go over all the... Oh, wait, no, that doesn't happen yet. Ethan tells them to leave because it's too dangerous. So he goes to Venice by himself, which is where Haley Atwell went. He finds her again.
Oh, well, is there one other thing that we haven't mentioned in the airport that happens? A certain suave guy who we're like, is he from other ones?
From his past.
Yeah, he shows up for the first time.
I haven't mentioned him yet because they don't discuss who he is until after Venice. That's why.
Perhaps he is. Did they see him though? They have like special glasses or something. I can't remember.
We get a couple glimpses of a suave man, the man who left the bomb at the baggage claim, and
right.
And Ethan sees momentarily, but we don't know what his deal is quite yet.
Yeah.
So Ethan tips off the polizia in Italy to let them know that... Oh, sorry, this is Rome, actually, that this part happens in.
Yeah, very familiar location for people that have listened to the podcast in weeks past.
Yeah.
Everybody loves driving cars up and down those steps. It is so much fun.
Yeah, but some people do it good and some people do it bad.
I think that's the only good scene in that movie, but go on.
So they're in Rome. Haley Atwell gets arrested because Tom Cruise tipped the police off. And they don't get the key because she slipped it in some older man that she flirted with's pocket. Just really painting a picture of how pathetic this man's life is in the 10 seconds of screen time he gets.
So sad.
He's so sad. Attention from a hot woman like Haley Atwell is the best thing that's happened to him in months.
What a loser, am I right? I would not fall for that trick. I'd say, "Excuse me, miss. I think you're using me as a key mule. I'm wise enough to your scheme." And she'd be like, "I'm so impressed." That would be what she'd say in British.
It's just the way Tom Cruise talks about it, where he's like, "You probably slipped it in the pocket of older man you connected with at the airport, who loved the attention." He says it in a way where it's like, it makes this guy sound really pathetic.
I hope the producer got a role in this movie finally. He's always been wanting to get one. Some producer that Tom Cruise hates, and it's that. And he never read the script, so he didn't know that he was going to be playing dud number one.
Yeah, because it's all voiceover. He wouldn't be hearing that when he was filming.
Yep.
But yeah, so Ethan finds her and pretends to be her lawyer, and is like, "Hey, we still gotta work together." But the mysterious man in the airport has shown up and stabbed a policeman in the hand, looking for the key also. But he doesn't do much for the rest of the Rome scene because Shea Wiggum shows up and wants to arrest Ethan. So he and Grace, who is Haley Atwell's character, I've been calling her Haley Atwell. Try to escape. Haley Atwell once again pretends that he molested her so she can run away from him while people...
That's what they be doing,
That's what women
it's
be
just
doing.
Like The Idol
right,
again.
Am I right, fellas?
Yep. We're all the victims.
But she steals a police car and runs off. Ethan steals a motorcycle and chases her. And Shea Wiggum gets in his car and chases her. And also Palm Clemente... Well, no, Palm Clemente hasn't shown up yet. The police chase her because she stole a police car.
Yeah, they hate it when you do that. Even in Italy, where the law is very loose when it comes to other things, you still can't steal a police car.
Yeah, it's bullshit, frankly. So they have a big chase scene. It ends on like a standoff where Shea Wiggum's got a gun on them, but also the Italian police have shown up and are trying to arrest Grace. And they're like arguing over who has jurisdiction here. And that's when Palm Clemente shows up, kills the police, and steals their big armored truck. Ethan uses the chaos because Shea Wiggum is still a good dude and would rather fight the person who's killing policemen than Ethan. But Ethan uses that opening for him and Grace to escape. But also he used the handcuffs that Shea Wiggum tried to arrest him with to handcuff himself to Grace so she can't run away. So they give more of a chase where the two of them are handcuffed together. Grace has to drive because he handcuffed her to his left hand, so he can't sit there in the driver's seat. Big chase scene. Palm Clementief's chewing up the scenery. They switch cars to a little Fiat 500 at one point. It's very silly. They do the stairs in Rome like Fast X did, except I like this scene.
And they drive around the circle like John Wick did earlier this year too. They have a similar minute to that.
That's true. But eventually they escape into like the subway system. But Grace,
like Indiana Jones did earlier this year.
Yeah.
There's only 3 options in things you can do in movies, and they did all 3.
Wow.
Every movie is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Grace picks the lock on the handcuffs and escapes. Tom Cruise narrowly avoids getting hit by a train and is like, oh, I'm real steamed about all this. But then it's Luthor, Benji, and Ilsa who have all shown up to help Ethan because they wouldn't stay away no matter how dangerous it is. Then they have the big conversation where we find out that the suave man who's been doing bad things and who Palm Clementief works for is Gabriel, a mysterious man from Ethan Hunt's past who has not been in any previous movies. So if you're like, why don't I remember that? That's why. It's because it's new.
And they show you a flashback scene, and I'm like, did this happen? I feel like I definitely would remember this, but I guess they made it up for this. Cool.
Yeah, they have some mysterious...
Which, like, sure.
They have some mysterious past where Gabriel killed some woman that Ethan Hunt loved, and because of the events involving the killing of this woman, Ethan did some huge crime that made him join the IMF instead of going to jail forever.
Right.
Anyway, Gabriel's there, and he's working for the Rensona.
Yes.
AI. He's like the guy who does all the physical things in the world for the AI.
This is actually the Rensona's persona, or Rensona's Rensona.
Yeah, he's the persona of the Rensona. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that show, Miss Davis. He's the Miss Davis of them, who or not the Miss Davis, but he's all those characters that are like, I'm Miss Davis right now. Here you go.
The proxy.
Kill one of them. Proxy, that's the word they use, yeah.
I should finish that show.
Yeah, it's good.
So, they're all like, that sounds really bad, but we still gotta do stuff. And they find out that Alana Mitsopoulos from the last movie, Vanessa Kirby from the last movie, is the person who wants to buy the key from Grace.
Hold on a second. Is her character's name in this Alana Mitsopoulos?
Alana Mitsopoulos, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a joke because that's what she's called in like some cartoon or something. She's the White Widow, right? That's like her nickname in this?
That's her nickname. Her name is Alana Mitsopoulos.
Love it.
Which,
incredible name.
Actually,
how did they not use that in this? Like
they do say it.
Oh, sure. I just mean like, how does that character go? I think I need a nickname. This Alana Mitsopoulos, it's so forgettable. It's like an insane name. It's James Bond, like, girlfriend name.
Funny story. While Vanessa Kirby herself, or the character of Alana Mitsopoulos, is not from previous movies, her mother, Max Mitsopoulos, is from Mission Impossible 1.
Really?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Was she named the name she has now, like this Mitsopoulos name? Was that mentioned in the last time she showed up?
I believe so, yes.
Interesting. I never heard this before, but that makes sense because of obviously what they're saying in the thing, in that scene.
Anyway, she's throwing a big party in the Doge's Palace in Venice, which is a place I've been. So when they were running around in the halls, I was like, I've been there.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to a cool rave when you were there?
No, I didn't get invited to cool secret raves. I'm like Shea Wiggum. I'm the Shea Wiggum.
Yeah, I was going to say, neither did Shea Wiggum, and he makes it work. So
you had to beat up some cop or like some...
he's
palace
private security. There's no way. Anyway, so they go to the big party. Grace is there. Gabriel is there also and does some threats, but everybody just kind of ignores him.
Yeah.
Grace does some more close-up magic and hides the key before the White Widow brings them up to her like VIP suite where they can talk about what's going to happen. Because the White Widow has the other half of the key. So she would have both halves if she gets Grace's half.
Right.
So they have a whole big conversation about what's going to happen. Alana's like, all the governments want me to give them the key, but I could just keep it, or I could give it to Gabriel. And Ethan Hunt's like, don't do those things. Help me destroy it. And she's like, I like money though.
But money.
So she lets Gabriel walk away. She doesn't give him the key, and he's like, I actually don't even want it because I'm gonna have it tomorrow because the AI knows everything.
Yep.
So I'm not even shook about it. And in fact, Ethan, one of the two women in your life is going to die tonight.
Yeah.
He's like,
the AI is a hack screenwriter. It's like, I'll motivate you in the one way I know how.
Somebody get out the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So they have a big chase, like escape sequence where they escape from the club while Alana's men and Gabriel's men try to stop them. Benji and Luther try to provide support, and Grace runs off on her own. But the Rensona hacks into their stuff and starts pretending to be Benji in Tom Cruise's ear and leading him away from Grace. And in fact leads him into a trap where Palm Clementif and some other goons corner him in a very narrow alley, which Venice is full of, so also very accurate.
Do we know what her name was? Palm Clementif's name? Paris.
You guys barely said though, so I just keep calling her Palm Clementif.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Anyway, Tom Cruise beats them up but doesn't kill Palm Clementif, which is important later. But while he was busy doing that, Gabriel found Grace. They have a little bit of a fight, but Grace isn't really a fighter, so she gets beat up pretty fast, even though she's got some cool knives.
Yeah, and she's got a cool like little outfit that's good for knives.
Yeah, well, listen.
The pirate sleeves.
If we're going to be talking about the Haley Atwell fits, we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, whoever costumed her for this movie, she should hire them on a full-time basis.
100%. She's got some good fits in general, because now that I think about it, her like that like Agent Carter, like big red hat, big like blue coat. It's like, that's pretty iconic. A little Paddington outfit she wears in those movies is good too. I don't think I've seen her in too many other things, but like I bet she's got a great outfit in that one episode of Black Mirror she's in.
How does Paddington come up in every single podcast?
I don't know. He's just got a lot to say. He's made a big cultural impact. I don't want to spoil the classic scene in Oppenheimer where he eats a big old marmalade sandwich off of somebody's butt or something, but it's in there. So we'll see it next week.
I'm pretty sure Paddington is old enough that he could be, I don't know, reading a Paddington book to his son or something.
Ooh, that's true. Oh, for sure.
Anyway, we're like the podcast version of that Twitter account that photoshops Paddington into every movie.
I was also going to say that the little Riddler cube thing that Benji did would also be perfect for Paddington. Like, no, Paddington is scared of his friends dying more than anything else. Like, Paddington loves friendship and stuff, so yeah.
Paddington is afraid to die.
Yeah, Benji might as well be Paddington in this.
Grace is losing. Gabriel's going to kill her, but then Ilsa shows up and does her own big fight with Gabriel, and she's much better at it because she's a secret agent instead of just like a thief and con artist. So they have a big fight, but unfortunately, right as Tom Cruise shows up to help, Gabriel knifes Ilsa and she dies. And everyone's very sad about it.
Just like the Rensona predicted.
And Luther takes Ethan aside and is like, hey man, I know you're going to want to kill Gabriel because he killed Ilsa. And you guys were into each other? It wasn't very clear.
Super unclear, yeah.
But that's what the AI wants, because if you kill him, we don't know where the thing is that the key unlocks. And that's why he had him kill her. So you got to not kill him. And Ethan's like, I got it. Totally cool. I'm not going to kill him. Also, they convince Grace to join the IMF and stop betraying them constantly.
Yeah.
Because she does nowhere else to turn. And they're like, hey, life in the IMF isn't great, but we promise we'll always... Well, Ethan specifically does not promise that he will always protect her. He promises that her life will always be more important to him than his.
Yeah, so like she better keep him high-spirited. Otherwise, that bar for himself lowers hers as well.
That's true, yeah.
Get him a nice gift every other day or something. I don't know.
Anyway, so the White Widow, who now has both halves of the key, because she did get it from Grace before Grace ran away, is taking a train up through, I think, Austria, to meet with a representative of some country to give them the key, because she's already decided where she's selling. So they plan to do a big heist on the train to get the key, do the latex masks to impersonate the White Widow and her brother so that they can do the deal instead, but actually they just steal the key and then escape the train, and Grace will stay behind and talk to Kittredge, they assume she will be brought to Kittredge, where she will say, I want to join the IMF. And everyone's like, cool, great plan. Breaks immediately because once again the latex mask machine breaks. They gotta do more routine maintenance on those things. They're always breaking.
Yeah, we're like 3 out of the last 4 movies. 3 of them have had the mask machine break, I believe. That's a lot of times.
Yeah. So they only have the Alana mask and not the Zola, which is her brother's name's mask. So they have to change the job so that Grace sneaks onto the train as Alana, while Ethan is going to roll onto the top of the train while it slows down at a turn and come in that way to help her. So they start putting that plan into action, but Gabriel's here, and because of his Rensona, he anticipated this. Kills the drivers of the train, puts it to full speed and destroys all of the brakes and speed controls so that no one can change it, and also rigs up one of the dead bodies on like the train whistle so it sounds like they're still there, I guess.
Yeah,
anyway,
sure. That sounds like what that was.
Anyway,
it was very clever.
Because of that, the train is going too fast and Ethan misses it on where he was supposed to roll on top of it. So Benji has to chart a new path for him. While that's happening, Grace goes through with the meeting. She drugs the real Alana and replaces her, and then goes to the meeting, which turns out to be with Kittredge because she's making the deal with the American government. And Grace almost betrays them again, where she's like, I want to change the deal a little bit. You have to protect this person, and shows him a picture of herself outside of the costume, from everyone forever, and not tell anyone that you're doing it, especially not even me. And the next time you talk to me about it, I'll pretend we've never heard of it. And if I was Kittredge, the head of the organization that does the latex masks, I would be, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
He already got fooled by latex mask once this movie, too, like yesterday, in terms of how long it's been, but he is so thick and dense at this stuff. He just doesn't get it.
It's great because this is the movie where people are aware of the latex mask, because Shea Wiggum keeps trying to pull people's faces off, thinking that they're aliens.
That was cute.
I liked that, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, she does that, and she is going to send the $10 million Alana was going to get for this, which, frankly, criminally low.
Yeah,
this is apparently
Widow.
the most important weapon ever made, and you're settling for $10 million? Now, granted, if you're a reasonable human being, $10 million is already far, far, far more money than you will ever need in your entire life. But she seems like the person to spend money like water, you know?
Yeah, she's an international arms dealer or some shit like that. She's got so much money.
Yeah, she throws big parties in the Doge's Palace in Venice. I feel like $10 million must be
cover one party
to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Grace ultimately doesn't betray them and does steal the key and walk away like she was supposed to. But they very quickly find out that because the real White Widow wakes up just as Grace is leaving and comes into the room and is like, what's going on? And Kittredge and Zola realize what happened. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise has been following Benji's path and ends up at the top of a mountain. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? And Benji's like, you can parachute on. It's the best thing I could come up with. And so in Tom Cruise's latest suicide attempt, he bikes off of a mountain. He takes his motorbike, uses a convenient natural ramp that this mountain has, and just bikes off of it and skydives far enough that he won't crash into the side of the mountain before pulling the parachute.
Yep.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is this movie's big stunt that Tom Cruise actually did.
It's one of them. Well,
multiple times.
Yeah, that one they did in real life, and then the last thing they also do in real life.
Really?
Well, actually, there's two things, right? Because it's the God, I already forgot what it's called. Skywing? Somebody calls it.
Oh, that thing. Yeah.
And then crashing the train off the thing. They also did in real life.
Oh, the train
with a real train.
Not the parts with the people.
No, not that. But yeah, that I remember seeing the train and the motorcycle thing as like filmed things they did to kind of promote the movie. And then after the fact, I saw the little windsurfy, whatever that thing is. So I guess they did that too. Apparently that was the hardest thing to learn how to use. Yeah.
Anyway, it looks hard. He's like flopping around everywhere.
Yeah, it's like that Deadpool scene where they all die and like crash into the big, tree harvester thing. Kind of expected that.
Anyway, so Zola tracks down Grace and has a convenient faceless goon with him to threaten her with a gun because Zola's a kind of important named character. Because right as that guy gets the key from her and is about to shoot her, Tom Cruise bursts into the scene, literally through the window, and just knocks that guy straight through the other window to his death.
Yep, pretty good.
And I just want to, I'll get to this when we're actually talking about the movie. Zola also gets knocked out, and they're like, oh, we're both here, good. Wait, where's the key? Uh-oh, Gabriel's here, and he picked up the key and walked away. So Tom Cruise and Grace split up. Ethan's going to chase Gabriel, while Grace goes to the front of the train to stop it, because they've realized by now they're on a runaway train. So Tom Cruise goes and has a big fight with Gabriel and almost kills him with a knife, but is interrupted by Shea Wiggum, who is also here and wants to arrest Ethan. And they argue about it for a little bit until Gabriel, in the funniest scene in the movie, just does like a trust fall off of the train into a truck.
Oh, yeah.
And then, does the full-on draw me like one of your French girls pose at Ethan as he drives away. Ethan and Shea Wiggum and them are all mad, but Ethan's like, hey, this train's gonna crash, and if you don't want everyone to die, you should help me right now. And Shea Wiggum listens to him.
Uh-oh.
So they get all the passengers to go to the back. Oh, I forgot one thing that's happened by now. Sorry. Who is there because he secretly the whole time knew the origin of the Rensona, which is they put some experimental AI on that Russian sub to secretly monitor it, but for reasons unknown to them, it went rogue, escaped to the internet, and then became the Rensona.
It went Rogue Nation.
It went Rogue Nation, right.
And it goes protocol.
And it goes protocol them? Yeah, that's like Fallout. And now they're on a dead reckoning with it.
That's right. Also, is this Wesley
Snipes?
From fucking... Yeah, I can never tell. Sometimes some stuffy white actor guy seems like I'm like, it's Wesley Snipes. No, from Princess Bride. Is Carrie Elwes?
I think it is. I think you're correct.
He looks a little different. But on the IMDb page.
It is. Oh, it is Carrie Elwes. And excuse me.
Okay.
He is not the head of the CIA. He's the director of national intelligence.
Gotcha.
Very
important
distinction.
This is his first one.
I think this is his first one.
Okay. He was in Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre. Maybe it's the same character?
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, so Carrie Elwes there knows the origin of the AI, and so he knows that the key is for the sub, which contains the original source code of the Rensona. And if you have that source code, then you're able to manipulate the Rensona. The precise mechanics of how this work are never 100% clear to me, but it doesn't really matter.
And it'll definitely work if it ever happens. If anybody ever gets that source code, they'll probably be able to actually manipulate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, also, before this mission, Luther was like, I've got to go do a thing, Ethan. I'm not going to be in the rest of the movie.
I gotta go sit some more.
I gotta go sit some. It sounds like the rest of this movie involves a lot of not sitting, so I'm not going to be involved.
Ethan, I've got to go hat shopping. I'm running out of hats. I think it's time for me to get a new color hat.
Ethan, you gotta promise me that you'll, after this, go to Arby's.
Yeah, get the meat.
Promise me, Ethan.
No, Ving Rhames, you can't be doing promotion on this podcast.
Oh, not well for Arby's. I don't know. Does Arby's count? I don't think he can promote things for any of the studios. However, in 2023, Arby's is probably owned by like Paramount, that's owned by, Yum Brands or something. So who knows? Depends. Are those commercials count as little movies? They're like movies. There's like a storyline.
The Arby's movie.
The meats, someone wants them, and then at the end they have the meats. It's like beginning, middle, end.
Yeah,
I think it could be a movie.
3-act structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Gabriel's like, you're sure you're the only person on the entire planet who knows the location of the thing that can manipulate my boss? And Cary Elwes is a big dumb idiot, so he doesn't realize where this conversation is going. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the only one, and that's why we should work together, so I can do a big coup and do a fascism in America with the help of the Rensona."
Yeah.
And Gabriel, instead of doing that, stabs him to death. And then
that was fun. Tries
to stab Palm Clementif because he's like, Ethan Hunt spared your life in Venice, so you're going to betray me and help him, so I have to kill you first. We'll later see it. This is actually a major self-fulfilling prophecy, which I think is either just a coincidence because of writing, or is a hint that maybe the Rensona's plans are more grand than it lets on.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because of how omniscient the Rensona seems to be, and yet how many times Ethan Hunt has kind of gotten the better of it or whatever. But then it turns out actually, no, that was always its plan the whole time. It's really like, it's a little retcon machine. They can decide it wanted to do whatever they want in the next movie if they haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. So Gabriel thinks he's free and clear, but actually Tom Cruise did one last bit of close-up magic and stole the key while they were wrestling. So Ethan has the key. All the passengers are running to the back of the train. He and Grace decouple the engine from the rest of the cars so that the emergency brake gets triggered because Gabriel set up little bombs that blow up a bridge that the train is about to cross. So the train engine goes plummeting off the side and explodes. The rest of the train is slowing down, but not enough. So Grace and Ethan have to run across the train while it slowly, car by car, falls off the bridge until it looks like they're not going to make it on the last one. But then, it's Palm Clementif, even though she's got a huge stab wound, dying of intense blood loss, and also is a pretty small woman to begin with. She is strong enough.
We'll talk about that.
She is strong enough to lift both Ethan and Grace up onto the final remaining car that doesn't fall and save their lives.
She's got ultra mime strength that she's able to use to pull up anything once. You got one shot at it forever, and she uses it here very wisely.
Very noble.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she, having been stabbed by her boss, is like, I will tell you where the key is now, and tells him it's in the submarine Sevastopol before she maybe dies. But then I guess in between filming scenes, everybody realized how awesome Palm Clementif's character was. And we're like, maybe we should put it out for us. So someone else runs up to her at the end of the movie and is like, she has a pulse.
Yeah. Adorable.
But Ethan...
Waste not.
Ethan escapes with the one parachute they have and the key. And Grace finally, does an unbetrayal and is like, you should go. And then she meets up with Kittredge, who is mad about all this, but she's like, Ethan told me that I should join the IMF, and I want to. And Kittredge is like, it turns, at the end of the day, that darn rascal Ethan Hunt, I can never stay mad at him.
Yeah.
And then they do a big narration ending so that the movie's over because it's a part one. And that's the end of the movie. No post-credit scene.
Post-credits, little beeps or something, right?
Yeah.
You get little beeps from the computer
some message
guy,
in the
Rensona.
Right.
Yeah, it gives us it gives us a website that we can use to watch that clip from the Batman of the Joker getting interrogated that they cut out of the movie. They want to show it so bad.
If you text the number in the beeps, then they send you a cake. And inside the cake is the production stills of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Wowie. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, I don't think I could eat the whole cake, but I would like the production stills. So if they'd like to send me that in a little box, that'd
you
be
eat
great.
a piece every night. You keep it in your fridge.
But it takes up so much space in the fridge. Unless it's a tall instead of wide cake, I would love that. If you gave me a cake that's just like a column, that'd be fantastic.
I want a cake.
But
damn it.
Yeah, right?
But yeah, so that's the movie, guys. That's the whole movie.
Wow, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pretty, pretty good. I feel like we didn't really miss anything.
I think I got a lot of minutes.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm. So, Nando, as our winner, unfairly, unjustly, some might say. Some might describe it as a coup. I don't know. But nevertheless, you get to just tell us what you thought about the movie first.
So, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. First of all, it's a Part 1. I don't know why this is the year of Part 1s, but it is, except it's good because they decided what it was when they wrote the movie. Instead of like Spider-Verse deciding it was a Part 1 after it was done or whatever they did, or like Fast X just like picking apart in the script and ripping it in half and then ending it there. Like this felt like it was like, all right, we saw a whole thing. These movies are fun. They're good. They're good movies. They don't make any sense. Like hearing you explain it, it's like, what the hell is that? Like it's insane. And it's even like, I do think for me, I enjoy these movies. I do think this series is like one level away from Ethan Hunt going into a room with the architect and explaining like the fabric of reality. But so far, I think it's fun. I think, all this stuff is just there so that Ethan Hunt can run on a train or whatever. I'm not a humongous fan of Tom Cruise. I think he's weird. But he's good at this. And it's almost so frustrating how competent these movies are.
Yeah, look, Tom Cruise the person, fucking horrible. Absolute garbage man. Tom Cruise the actor, damn fine.
Yeah, like it's like, man, I'd love it if not like I'd love it if one of these bombed, but I'd love it if you get maybe a little bit of a punch back to reality. But between this and Top Gun, it's like two just A+ banger action movies. I would say like for all the Tom Cruise stuff, Christopher McQuarrie is good at this, and if he didn't direct Top Gun, he definitely wrote it, the new one. So like he's the secret sauce, but. I think that this movie, I don't know if it's my favorite. I do think Ghost Protocol is probably my favorite. I haven't watched any of the other ones since then, though, so maybe they would be. But, like, it's good. I can't imagine putting unless someone really hates Tom Cruise, which I would get, I cannot imagine putting this movie on and for someone to, like, get bored or, like, not enjoy it. I do think it gets a little, like I said, I think it gets a little bit too, like, cute and too, like, oh, the AI wants you to do this, and oh, it's sending you a little message. It's like, okay. But as like a franchise like this, where it does have to kind of one-up itself, and it's already done nuclear bombs and all this stuff, like, there's only so far you can go. Honestly, I'm surprised Fast and Furious hasn't done this yet. I think this will probably be what the last one is. But, like, this is the end game for one of these. So
yeah, I will say, when your antagonist is like a super infallible mega genius who predicts your every move and has already accounted for it, and everything you do is what they wanted you to do, I do have an easier time buying that when it's an AI than when it's Jason Momoa.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it is like how a lot of these do end up going. I feel like we've had a couple of AI plots. Again, like Miss Davis was kind of this, but like where instead of the AI, you could just say the screenwriter, and like the screenwriter knew you would do this, Ethan, which is why they've set up this complicated obstacle that only you can do. And like, it's just like, it is just...
Jason Momoa read the script, right?
Yeah, exactly. You just kind of go, all right. And if the rest of the stuff in the middle that the screenwriter is setting up is fun, then it's worth it. And it's fun. It's a good movie. Yeah, it's good. I'm curious where they'll go in the next one. I think we've seen one stunt. Like, he has shown us one that I guess they already filmed, which would lead you to believe they go in one direction. I think is interesting. But besides that, like...
One Direction's going to be in the movie?
Well, the ones that are still in One Direction. So not Zayn and not Harry, but the other ones. I don't know what any of their names are. Brian, Flibbo, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, it is weird that there's not... I guess, has this movie had like guest stars like that? Like how like every Fast and the Furious movie has like some, random musician, and you're like, who's that? That's got to be somebody, right?
Jeremy Renner was around for a couple and then mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, that's true. He was in, and so was what's her name? It was also in that one. What is her name? Paula Patton? Is that a person?
That sounds right.
Right. I'm thinking I'm confusing her with a comedian, but I'm pretty sure Paula Patton was like the number 4. I do think it is my favorite one, but it does go through a lot of business to set up the new Mission Impossible team that it just completely ignores in the future, which is cute.
It is Paula Patton. You are right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that movie was cool. This movie was cool too. Diggins, what about you? What did you think of Mission Impossible? Nope. Dead Reckoning.
There you go. Part 1.
Part 1, right.
I mean, yeah, this movie's incredible. It's a great movie. I saw it in IMAX, which was the right choice. So it looked fantastic.
I was gonna see it in IMAX, but Christopher Nolan took my ticket and ripped it up right before I went in and said, "No more IMAX for you, sir." And then he directed me to Oppenheimer, the proper movie.
Yeah, I heard he's been doing that. So it's unfortunate that happened to you, Nando, but it's very common.
Yep.
Like, does this movie do a lot of like dumb action movie things that I have complained about before? Sure. The plot doesn't really make that much sense. But I guess there are 2 key differences here. And I will try to be a little more in-depth and glib than the movie is good, which is my usual excuse. One of them, I think, is the what I was going to say earlier about the parachute scene, the one where he enters the train, which I think the key thing for that scene for me is that absolutely nothing about it is engineered to make Tom Cruise look cool. Like it is a thing he does not want to do. When he does it, he has the air rushing by, flattening his face, making him look all weird and goofy, like would actually happen if you skydived. And when he crashes into the train, it's not like he sees what's happening and does a cool guy like drop kick through the train and kills that guy and then does a cool one-liner. He crashes through the train because that's what you have to do when you're parachuting onto a train, happens to crash into this guy, and then he's all like dizzy and like, what happened? Oh, like all beat up because it sucked for him also. And I'm like,
and also, if only we had heard the audio of him screaming as he fell into the through the air. That's the only way this could have been more embarrassing for him.
Yes, exactly.
One of these days.
But yeah, so all of that to say, my larger point here is that I think these movies are much better than, say, your Fasts and Furiouses at making you feel the like weight and impact of the action and the stunts, because it seems difficult and like hard on the characters instead of them being invincible supermen who can do everything. And that helps me personally a lot with this sort of thing. Where it makes me feel like, obviously I know Tom Cruise is going to succeed and none of this stuff is going to kill his character, but it feels like it might because he acts like it might. And similarly, I feel like the action scenes in these movies are much better at varying the tone and pace in ways that stop them from getting boring. Like for me, the Rome car chases between Fast X and this movie are like a night and day difference, where the Fast X one is like, there's a lot of like change in circumstance, where it'll be like the ball with the bomb is rolling, and then Jason Momoa blows up a thing and you have to go do another thing and whatever. But like, it's all just them. At the end of the day, it's all them just chasing the ball downhill, without much variation in like the tone of the scene or the general style of it. Whereas in the car chase in this one, we're constantly varying things. Like she steals the police car and Ethan's chasing her, and then they crash and they stop, and there's the tense standoff. But then Palm Clemente breaks in and she starts chasing them, so they get off on their own. They get in the little Fiat 500. We have that little comedy beat of them like figuring out how the car works, and the chase starts again. Then we have the like Jaws sequence of Palm Clemente in the big Jeep chasing them down the stairs. Like things are constantly moving and changing in ways that like are both interesting and stop me from getting bored. So yeah, I think those are the 2 big things for me, which is why these action movies really work for me when a lot of other ones don't. And I think they've just consistently been very good at those things, and these movies are like always great. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What about you, DJ? What did you think?
Yeah, I think that mostly gets it. I think for me, on top of what all you guys said, which I agree with, this movie rules, I think that like this cast works. Like, I buy the Benji, Luther, Ethan dynamic. And like, their buddies have been through a lot and they can just hack things just cuz. And like, I like that we're there with those characters. I thought Haley Atwell was great, and I think she excels in like this kind of action scene. I was actually watching this being like, would she have been a better fit for the Indiana Jones part than Phoebe Waller-Bridge? Like, would that have made it more successful if it was like a Haley Atwell?
I think it would have been different.
Just something I thought while
I can
watching this.
see it.
And like Pom Klementieff too. I liked her as Gabriel's like head, like enforcer.
Sorry, I meant Pom Klementieff was like my favorite part of this movie. She is giving such an unhinged performance, the likes of which we have not seen since Famke Janssen in GoldenEye.
Yeah, and like I like too that it's just like wild with like no explanation. Like we don't really get a good idea of like who Gabriel and Paris are, but it doesn't matter. Like there's enough like context to like, okay, they're bad and she works for him and you know whatever's going on there, it's like doesn't really matter. Like the movie's really good at like, because it's long, it's nearly 3 hours, but it focuses where it needs to in terms of like the characters that matter at the moment. Like it's mostly Ethan, but like you get to spend enough time with all of them that it strikes a good balance. And like the scene in the beginning of the movie where it's just Ethan and Kittredge just having their own little showdown. Like this is all very good. So yeah, I love this movie and I thought it ruled. And I am excited for part 2 whenever we'll get that. And you know, it's like not flawless. Yeah, with something like nitpicks and things to discuss, but like overall, yeah, I thought this movie was really great.
So yeah, that's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. What a movie! We all have thoughts. The movies. Yeah, it's weird that they did the same thing as Fast and Furious, right? That's weird.
Yeah, it's really bizarre how much of this movie feels like a time traveler watched Fast X and went, I could do this a lot better. And then went back and started the production on this one.
Do you think they both must have known, right, that the other one was doing this? I feel like when you would apply for that permit to film, you know, the one scene that we're actually there for Fast X, or all the stuff you're actually doing there for Mission Impossible, they would say, by the way, you know, the other guys are here tomorrow. Or do you think this was a surprise to them?
I guess it depends, because COVID really stretched out both of those productions. It depends what stage of it they were both there, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's, it's weird. I do think this one's better, although, like I said, I think that scene is the best scene of the other one. But yeah, this one, I don't know. What do you guys think is the best scene in this movie?
See, it's easy to say like, oh, like the motorcycle jump, because like that was like legit cool. But I'm trying to think if there was like a fight scene that like really stood out. I did like the small alleyway fight scene. That was really good. Yeah,
that was cool. And then that was also like the scene where, like Haley Atwell was doing all her knives stuff.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson showed up with a big pipe or something. I can't remember what. Or did she have the sword?
Rebecca Ferguson had a sword. Tom Cruise has the big pipe.
He had the pipe. Okay, yeah. Ooh, well done. That's what I like to hear. But yeah, those fight scenes were fun. Do we have a favorite? How about this? Do we have a favorite character? Or like a Diggins, you said you seem to have one.
Pom Klementieff, absolutely. I mean, it's an immortal role, which is you're the henchman. You don't really need to do much besides, show up, look crazy, and like overact. And like, damn, she does all of that so well. I mean, also, she knows martial arts and is really good at the fight scenes. But I honestly, just the cackling joy on her face as she chased them down in her big armored truck.
Yeah,
that alone elevated that Rome scene for me so much.
Like, fuck, Italian cops. I get it.
Yeah.
This Fiat seems like it's up to something. The fucking humongous truck from the beginning of the Sonic game that chases you through San Francisco that just plowed through 50 cops also is probably up to something. I feel like if you have to prioritize, maybe check. They're all like, just like, such tunnel vision, whereas this thing is like going through buildings and they're all like, well, obviously we gotta let her go. Like, she doesn't even dress like a cop. She didn't even put a little cop hat on or something. She's still got her mime makeup and whatever. She's insane.
No, she doesn't have the mime makeup in this scene. She wears the mime makeup in the club.
Oh, okay. Maybe she just grows it. Maybe her, like, when she is a chameleon. She is
wearing quite the fit, though. She's got the big army boots and she's also like, her fit's out of control, but in the more like out there fashion sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which I also loved. I had so much fun with her character. It's like, I think it's ludicrous that they did the death and then have a guy be like, there's still a pulse, so that they can use her again. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad she'll be there because I want to see more of her.
Do you think she's going to be like a cyborg or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she's like part robot.
I feel like these movies haven't gotten that silly yet.
I don't think they had before this movie. I think this movie, everything's out the door or out the window. Not that I think it will be that, but I could see some real bullshit happening in the next one that feels like, yeah, like it's not, wouldn't belong in one of these, but it does now.
Well, did you guys have a favorite character? Because that's mine.
DJ.
Guess not. Well, good talk, everybody.
I definitely did have a favorite character, but I didn't want to steal it from DJ because I figured it might be.
You're not going to say Ethan. You're going to say Grace, right?
Absolutely not. I'm going to say the best character in the movie, Briggs. Shea Wiggum's guy who's just around. What an insane role. Why is he even in this movie? He's like always there, but he always sucks. I don't know what casting director is like in charge of Shea Wiggum specifically. But, like, he was in Spider-Man this year as the cop who can't get the main character and eventually lets them go. He's in the Fast and Furious movies recently as the cop who can't get the main character but eventually lets them go. Like, and now he's in this. He just got one speed. It's incredible. Even do this to Joker, too, or something? He just, like, it's so weird. And also, yeah, I love the idea that there is someone just chasing after Ethan Hunt, running up to people, trying to rip their faces off. He's the only character that seems to understand what Ethan Hunt is capable of. And that's good. Someone needs to have done that by now.
That's because he got latex masked. He knows.
Right, yeah.
He has become familiar with it in a way that only those who have had their identity stolen can.
Well, yeah, and I liked his little intro in the beginning when he's like, Ethan Hunt is a being of pure chaos or something like that. That was cute.
Don't assume he's dead till you've like driven a stake through his open heart.
Yeah. That was good.
Very
it does just,
good.
It feels like this character, everybody in this movie is like a super spy, you know, with like a fancy accent or something. And he feels like the one beat cop that's always been chasing Ethan Hunt and managed to like graduate to the level of main character by accident. He just does not fit, but he's funny and he's good. And he lets Ethan Hunt go because he realizes he's got a heart of gold. And, you know, that's his job in these.
Every chase scene needs 3 essential elements to be after the hero.
Yep.
They need the villain, of course, like the actual antagonistic force that is the main threat of the movie. They need the like well-meaning authorities, the cops and other faceless guys who are chasing them because they think our heroes are bad. And we need the doofus.
Yeah.
The guy who just kind of sucks but never gives up. And Shea Wiggum is a perfect doofus.
I guess the other thing about him that's so bizarre is it's like at a certain point, I do think these characters owe Ethan Hunt the benefit of the doubt. And like, he seems like he kind of knows Ethan Hunt's deal. And like, what do people in this universe, specifically like the Shea Wiggums, what did they think he did before? They know who he is. They have all this information on him. Oh, he's so chaotic. He's so troublesome. Really chaotic when? That time he stopped the nuclear device or that time he stopped the Russian guy from killing everybody? Which of those times? And why is this the time he's gone bad for real? Every movie he goes bad and we all go, oh, he's bad this time. Can we at least give him one?
I think, in fairness, I do think this movie sets up an actual reason why they would want to stop him, which is not that they think he's like, right, secretly bad or anything. It's that he specifically tells Kittredge what he thinks is the right thing to do in this situation is to destroy the Rensona. And Kittredge is like, no, we want to control it. So like, we got to stop him because he thinks he's doing the right thing. And like, he's not a bad guy, but the thing he wants is not a thing we want.
I guess that works for Kittredge, but for Shea Wiggum, there's a little bit more like, and you see him work through this problem in his head at the speed of like, you know, an abacus just moving little beads around. Like, wait on a second, Ethan Hunt doesn't want to kill me, and this other lady in the humongous car wants to kill me. Is Ethan Hunt the good guy or the bad guy in this situation? Who can tell? But like, man, this character is just so weird in this movie. And like, and he also, like all these other guys, you watch this movie and you're like, he has to have been in a previous one. Why else would this character be here? And it's like, no, he's new. He's brand new and he's going to be in the next one. I hope he kills the bad guy or something. Yeah. He definitely survives this one, right? I think.
Yeah, he's alive by the end.
So yeah, he's my hero. What about you, DJ? Who was your favorite character?
I think it's Grace just because I really appreciate like Haley Atwell's performance. I like her close-up magic. I like her knives. And it's like she's new, right? Like it's not like it's bad that it's like like, oh, we're doing this again with like Benji and Luther, but like like I know their bits already.
Yeah.
I like about her that she's not good at fighting, but not in a way that's like a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that's not a thing she's ever focused on. So when she gets into a fight, like she's doing her best to defend herself, and it's not supposed to be like funny, but she's not as good at it as the rest of these guys because it's not a thing she has cared about in the past.
I also like that, like, when she is introduced in the movie, she's also not a spy. She's just some person who's, like, kind of caught up in it. It's like, she's not, like you're saying, she's not completely out of her, like, comfort zone, and, like, she doesn't not belong here. But she's also, like, it would be annoying if we had her, and then we also had Gabriel, and they were all like, I'm the greatest spy killer man who's ever lived, and I'm going to kill you. And, like, she was that, but for something, like, some other party. But she is just kind of making it work. She got caught up in all this bullshit. And yeah, that's fun. And I love how much these movies cannot figure out if like Ethan Hunt is a cool, sexy guy or not. And like even to this day, this Rebecca Ferguson character, I still don't know what the deal was with her or Ethan Hunt. Are they good friends? Are they secretly in love?
She does imply at one point that he boned down with Vanessa Kirby.
Oh, does she?
I mean, very lightly, because when they're talking about Alana Mitsopoulos, the White Widow, I think Benji goes like, didn't she put a price on your head? Which is a thing that happens in Fallout.
Right.
And Rebecca Ferguson goes, yeah, but the two of them worked it out. And then she kind of looks at him like, never did tell me how you did that, Ethan.
Oh.
And it's like, did they bone down maybe?
Cannot have the characters explicitly say that on screen. It's got to be something heavily implied. I don't know. Is Tom Cruise one of those guys?
Like a sexy guy?
A sexless guy, like a The Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Like a man who refuses to kiss his scene partners because he's faithful to his wife.
Exactly, like Vanessa Kirby in the Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw movie, where like they kissed on the mountaintop for 1 second, and you're like, okay, this is
a chaste peck on the lips.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, because Tom Cruise is like one of those big giant movie stars who counts as a movie star overseas. And I wonder if he is also doing that kind of image protection kind of thing. No, you know what? Because he did have sex in Top Gun. Like,
also, he did Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, no, sure. I mean, current Tom Cruise. Like in Maverick, he was hooking up with what's her name, Jennifer Connelly. So I'll count that as like.
Talking about characters that the movie has the audacity to pretend like we probably know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of those in this movie. Which one are you talking about specifically?
I was talking about in Top Gun. The Jennifer Connelly's character.
Yeah.
Everything about the movie is like, remember her from the first one? And no, she's not in it.
Yeah, that is bizarre. I mean, I did not watch. So have you guys like recently watched Mission Impossible 1 enough that you could guarantee you knew where some of these people were and were not from?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know. That's 5 years.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I have not seen it in a really long time. But
I have seen every Mission Impossible except for 2 and 3.
3's okay. 2 has a reputation, but 3 is fun.
I hear they're the two that people like, not everybody, but is more generally agreed that they are not as good.
100%. Yeah. There's a big step up in 4, 5, and 6, like from those, but I do think 3 has its moments. 2 is like a product of its time, but 3 also feels like a movie by J.J. Abrams, and that part of it is a little annoying.
No. I don't think I've ever watched a J.J. Abrams movie I liked.
Well, do you know what the gimmick of 3 is? Like what their Rensona is?
I know that there's the rabbit's foot.
Yeah, the rabbit's foot. The thing that we never see or is never used, and it is just a plot device. Like, it's very J.J. Abrams-y. He's very proud of himself.
That sounds like a J.J. Abrams plot, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I knew about Kittredge and Alana and Max Mitsopoulos and all that. I have seen that. Well, that and I do my research. But I've seen that movie a lot more recently than you guys, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it once, maybe a while ago, and I was like, this is okay. And I definitely should have gone and watched it before I saw this, because I knew Kittredge was back, and I was like, oh yeah, that's that guy from that. But some of these other things, it's not that I needed to know who people were, it's that I needed to know who I wasn't supposed to already know.
Yeah, there's the rub.
That's the tricky part. And I know there's a lot of people that are like Mission Impossible fans, but like you said, I don't know too many people that are Mission Impossible fans enough that they would like do a whole watch through of all of them. So like, I think you could convince pretty much any person who's seen all these movies. No, Gabriel was in the one you kind of forgot about. Like, he's the bad guy in 2, remember? And they go like, oh yeah, I guess so. I can be convinced.
Yeah, I feel like when I walked into that theater, if someone had like really confidently told me what movie he was from, I would have believed them.
Yeah, and also like the idea of Tom Cruise, like Gabriel being tied to Tom Cruise's or Ethan Hunt's like backstory was another thing that I was like, I don't remember ever seeing this or hearing about this in this much detail, but I guess we know it. They're talking about it like we know it, so there you go. I like that actor. I think he's good in this. He's weird. This guy's really weird.
Yeah, but I feel like giving off a weird energy is what this character needs.
I mean, like, I guess for him, he's pretty weird the whole movie. And then he goes to sleep in the magic pod. And that's when I'm like, okay, we've crossed the line. This guy's extra weird now. Is it brainwashing him? What's going on in that pod?
He goes to sleep in the magic pod. Wait, what?
You don't remember that? He has like a little coffin thing that he sits in at one point. Do you remember this? Am I crazy?
When does this happen?
So it's like 2/3 of the way through the movie. I want to say either this is right before the train or right after. But we see a character who I'm pretty sure is him put like on like magic glasses that show the thing, and then he like goes like almost powers down. But it's not like we're supposed to think he's a robot. But it's like, this is how the Ren Sona communicates with him, is it gives him all his instructions in like a little like chamber thing. Did they cut this out in the week before when I saw it, when you saw it?
I'm not saying this didn't happen. I have no memory of this whatsoever.
Really? Oh man. I mean, maybe it didn't happen.
I also don't, but I was going to ask, like, so one of the things I wanted to understand is like, what is the nature of his relationship with the AI?
No.
Right? Like, that was like one thing that I'm like, we never really get that he is like why does this AI have a person? I guess because it can't not have a person proxy, or else it would be like too out there. But it was just interesting that I'm like, he has like a person proxy.
I mean, I think it makes sense for it to be like, there are simply things that need to be done that require a physical body. And so it's good for me to have a guy to do those things.
I mean, don't tell it to these executives who
that's true.
They just want to replace all of us with AI. They're like, these people don't need bodies.
Scan Gabriel once and then put him on a million things.
Yeah.
How weird is it that this movie is about AI, by the way?
It's extremely funny.
It's so funny.
I mean, in fairness, this stuff's been in the air for a while, so that's probably like they probably weren't expecting it to be as much a part of the entertainment specifically conversation as it is when this movie came out. Mm-hmm. But I feel like when they were writing it, AI was already a thing people were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because it's also like it's a movie about AI specifically, like, and the evil people that want to use it to do the work that the agents used to do but will no longer do because it's better than all of them. I guess that part of it is like, it's more than Terminator, where Terminator is just about an evil AI that wants to, kill us or whatever. This one like specifically wants to replace us because it's better for the bosses.
We actually don't know what the Ren Sona wants.
Oh, sure. I don't mean that they want that. That's what Wesley, I feel like, was talking about.
Oh,
it's the perfect agent that can do things you guys never can. It's the ultimate guy.
Well, it's more like I can use it to control the media and all the people of the United States, so I can do all the cool stuff I want to do without anyone bugging me.
Yeah. Is he the dumbest character we've ever seen in one of these?
Oh, that's a tough question.
I'm trying to remember other ones that were equally dumb or like in that neighborhood, but he's really asking for it when he gets murdered.
Yeah, the blackjack dealer like hitting on, are you sure that you're the only person who possibly knows the thing I need to know unequivocally?
I feel like this has happened in other movies too, like similar beats, but they aren't as heavy-handed. This is gonna kill me, but I've got one specific one in my head. I can't remember what it is, I never will.
Sure.
Yeah. Who else was great in this? What did we think of Benji in this one? I think Benji's a little weird. I don't know what it is.
It's
It's
just
that Simon Pegg is getting old. That's what it is.
There's that for sure. Yeah. Move over, Ving Rhames. I'm sitting too. But
I'm
I
the
just
guy
mean,
in the
like,
chair.
Yeah. Two guys in a chair. Everybody eventually becomes the guy in the chair, except for Tom Cruise. He still runs around. But like in 100 years, it's going to be like Haley Atwell, Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames. They're all sitting in chairs. But I guess like the bit with him and the little puzzle is pretty weird. Like if you separate that from all the rest of this movie, it's like, what is that?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scene that is cool in the moment, but yeah, when you look at the whole picture, it's not clear exactly. Because, like, you could say it's the learning, like, the most important thing to you is your friends. That's the thing I use to exploit you. But it's like, but Ethan's the one you're exploiting with that information. And not necessarily the case that Benji's answer is the same as Ethan's.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got like, there's other stuff too. Like so there's the friends thing. It asks them like a couple true or falses, right? Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. I guess it's weird that that is the way that the Rensona starts the movie. That's our team's first interaction with it. But then later Gabriel just shows up and says like, here's the deadly choice you have to make. It's a hard one. Ooh. Like, there's no more puzzle boxes or riddles and stuff. So it does seem like the AI tried that out and went, I don't really think this is it. And then decided to go in a different direction.
It is an AI, so it doesn't actually consider anything it did or said previously when it considers what it should say or do next. So it would make sense that it's wildly inconsistent.
Speaking of wildly inconsistent, so Gabriel is invisible to cameras?
So the AI, the Rensona in real time is erasing him from the record while he is being filmed.
Okay, but Ethan cannot see him when he's using his fancy glasses.
I think that's supposed to be like Jason runs really fast when you're not looking at him moment.
Okay.
Where he was standing, because he sees him in the glasses, and then he takes them off. Where he sees him in the glasses, he's getting erased because the AI is erasing him. And then he takes them off and he's not there.
Okay.
So I think what actually happened in fiction is that while Ethan took the glasses off, Gabriel broke into a dead sprint and just ran away as fast as possible.
I mean, this must have been the most exciting day at the airport for everybody that wasn't them. Just cops running in big groups. A guy's on the ceiling of the airport. People are sneaking around and like... It's just so much business.
Yeah, it's like, was this a flash mob?
And they still left on a plane.
Yeah, none of the planes even got delayed.
You figure there's at least one guy that's looking to make sure nobody's running on the airport top. And that guy doesn't have a plane button, stop the planes button that he could press.
There is a dead body in that airport.
Yeah. They run a tight ship over there. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I guess in Dubai, occasionally dead bodies show up and just nobody asks any questions.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like it's
just like, this must be one of those guys who helped build that big tower we have.
I thought you were gonna say, yeah, that is one of the options. And I feel like for this movie, it's weird. It's not weird that it's in Dubai. It's weird that it's weird that it's Dubai because these movies have already been in Dubai, Yeah,
but that was at the Burj Khalifa. This is just the airport.
I know. I guess just for a globe-trotting adventure, it feels weird to go back to a place we already were. It'd be like if James Bond went back to, I don't know, that island from that one movie where
I do think
him and Silva flirted.
Yeah. I do think that, I don't know this for sure. I have to imagine the UAE gives tax breaks or pays people to have movies there, and that's why it's in so many movies.
Yeah, I think that's right. Other question. What's the weirdest scene in this movie?
The weirdest scene in this movie?
In what sense? Like weird bad or weird?
Weird. Is there anything else that stuck out that we haven't really
The Italian police scene is kind of weird.
That is weird. It's weird how Gabriel like kills them and then they look around and it's like, oh, he already killed the other guy. And I'm like, I was just at Indiana Jones too. But also it's like, man, you just really can rip through these police if you want to. You just have to be confident when on a suit.
Well, yeah. I mean, no police officer anywhere in the world has any interest in doing their actual job. I think this is very clear from everything we've seen from them.
Yeah. Yeah, the Italian...
Given the opportunity, they will sit in a subway station all day pretending to care about anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame them.
Maybe if a poor person tries to like skip the turnstile, they'll arrest them, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would get Palm Clemente's giant truck's attention. They would chase that guy down the Spanish Steps or whatever. I like the bit where after that bit where both of the cars were kind of broken. That was cute.
Yeah, that was cute. What's the weirdest part of this movie? I have an answer for weird bad, but I don't know if I have an answer for weird.
Weird bad can be weird bad, like weird.
Oh, I mean, DJ, it sounds like you had something.
Yeah, also in the weird category, I would put the final like train crawl sequence. Like that goes on to a point where it's like there's no fucking way.
Oh,
yeah. I think it was well done, but I agree. It's like after the third one, it's like, are we gonna have to go through the whole train? Like, how many more of these are left?
They're
gonna get pretty tired, especially when they all became little hazards, like where each car had a theme, and it was like, this is the one with the fire.
I love that too. That's another principle. I feel like it's kind of related to the second principle I gave, so it's maybe not its own full principle. But things are always getting worse in these scenes, and I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. I think too and this is something where it's like I understand that we have to do like the Palm Clementine's like full circle, but like the fact that she gets all the way to the front of the train is ludicrous. There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
And that she pulls up two human beings who are larger than her while she's bleeding to death.
Yeah.
Mime strength, man. It's pretty serious. If you believe in yourself, you can pick up anything.
Do you think she mimed a big burly man to actually lift them for her?
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
She mimed a pulley system or something that she could use to offset their weight. Can't leave her.
Nando, I have a very important question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Has this mime bit evolved because in the club scene she's wearing that like splash of white makeup on her face, or is it just because she's French?
Both. When I learned her name was Paris, I was like, oh, she's a mime villain. Because originally, it's not just when she's in the club. Her face on the poster is like that. That they really went all out for like, this is what this character looks like. And for the whole, like, seeing that poster, I think that one of the characters is a mime. And then she doesn't talk for pretty much the whole movie. And I'm like, maybe that is what they were going for. And then I found out her name is Paris. So, I don't know.
All right. Okay. Just wanted to know.
Haven't had any mime villains in a movie for a while that I can remember besides like Incredibles and Pokemon, I guess, has an evil mime, but I'm ready for more.
He's married to Ash's mom.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty evil in my book. Well, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, they like torture a mime for a little bit.
Oh, that's true. That mime's kind of evil.
Yeah, he's in on it or something. I don't remember what that movie was about. What else was weird? Oh, I have a weird one. Remember the scene where they're at the club and then they're like they're having the big conversation and then Ethan Hunt goes, "We're inside the red Sona," and then all the screens turn into the little eye thing, and it's like, we're all near phones. You don't have to do this. You can hear everything we say all the time.
Yeah.
But whatever, I guess. And the same token, a lot of the things that happen in that scene are kind of preposterous. We're back to fucking Secret Invasion level. Like, has anybody thought about this at all? When Benji's giving him the bad directions, I'm like, come on, man. Just think about this for a second. When Benji just immediately says the wrong thing, just ask him a question or something.
Yeah.
Like, you guys need a code word that you could say to each other that the machine doesn't know. But it doesn't even feel like by the end of the movie, they've even completely figured that out. They need to kind of be one step ahead of it. They're just kind of like, we have to be better Ethan Hunts than the machine thinks we can be. And that's how we'll win the day.
I like how the entire government apparatus' solution is like, we're just going analog.
It's a good solution. It's the best one.
It's an okay solution.
I mean, have you guys seen the stunt that they've advertised for the next one?
No.
I have not.
I didn't know we were there already.
Does Tom Cruise use dial-up?
Yeah, it's pigeons. He's got a bunch of pigeons he's sending to Ving Rhames. But no, because I don't know if this is from the next movie, but it has to be. Otherwise, Tom Cruise just does this thing for fun, and I don't think it is. But like, it does seem like they're gonna slightly go more analog in the next one, to the point where I'm like, maybe like the next movie involves the Ren Sona just turning off all the power or something. Because
is he riding a horse?
No, but something. It's a little bit less that, but it's kind of a step back, in a way that's kind of cool. But yeah, I saw this, like, he shared it on Twitter a little while ago with like one of his videos where it's like, ha ha ha, we're going to the movies, everyone. And then you pan back and he's doing some big stunt. Now I'm like, I guess that's in the next one then, because this wasn't in here. But what were you gonna say is the bad one, the bad dumb one, Diggins?
So I do think we made fun of it already, but the way the movie kills Ilsa Faust does feel a little like rote in a way that left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, just like you said, the AI is a hack screenwriter going, one of the two women you care about will die, Ethan Hunt.
Yeah,
and then also, they just do it.
And it's going to be by the same guy that killed the last woman you cared about. Like, it's
no.
This guy, man, cannot catch a break.
Yeah, and especially because Ilsa is a character who is the oldest, most established character in these movies that's not Ethan, Luther, or Benji.
That's true. Except for Kittredge. But yes, before that.
Well, I added most established there to be like, yeah, Kittredge is in one movie, but like she has been in the past, she's been in 3 movies in a row now. Like, she's pretty established.
That's true.
And yeah, so and like a lot of people, us included, think that she's going to turn out to be alive in part 2. Which, like, fine, but you know, we're talking about this movie, and in this movie, it does appear that she actually dies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was one part where I felt a little like, I don't know. This feels less like you're executing on like basic action stuff really well, and more like you're kind of going through the paces in a way that you're not thinking about like the implications and like associations of, and it felt off to me. It was the one sour note.
Well, it's also a little weird because in this last movie, the new person was Henry Cavill, who's Secret Bad. Movie before that, it was her. But besides that, like we've been saying, the makeup of the team is relatively static. It's Benji and Luther and Ethan. So in this one, a new woman joins the team. And we got 2 women guys. And the White Widow, who's like, you know, all over the place. But still, wow, a lot of women in this movie. Oh, here comes the Rensona to tell us we got to get rid of one of them. We got too many.
Here comes the studio executive saying 2 women. No.
Yeah, this isn't testing well among 18 to 25-year-old men for some reason instead of the alternative. I mean, honestly, part of me thinks maybe she was just busy. Like, because she just did that Silo show. And I originally didn't, like, before when I saw this movie, I hadn't seen that. And then I've watched it since then. I'm like, she's in a lot of this show. Like, I wonder if she was like, can you figure out some ways for me not to be in the middle and end of this movie? Because they do seem like they film, like you were saying about like the, you know, some locations, feels like they go out of their way to try to do some of this practically at least. Which I feel like if this were like Spider-Man or something, you could just green screen her in from some other scene. But I don't know if Tom would let you.
I did want to bring up when we were talking about this on the Nando V Movies Discord Phoenix Rising.
Phoenix Wright. Yep.
I believe Discord user Leia had brought this up as had also not cared for that moment and suggested that it would have felt more impactful if it had been Benji who died instead.
Right. It's crazy that he survives this movie. I was very like, yeah, we do the whole, you know, death scare earlier. He tells us what's important to him and all this stuff. And then the AI tricks us into thinking he's bad, or like, you know, tricks Ethan. And it's like, well, this is a perfect spot for him to show up then and be useful. But
especially because he did, like, as soon as he realized what was up, he hopped in a boat and was racing to go find Ethan.
Yep.
So like, it wouldn't have even not made sense for him to show up.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And like, I would miss Simon Pegg. I think he's great. But like, I do think she has a strong point about that, being more emotional in the moment and also making more sense for the story.
Yeah, no, I agree. I even think like, I don't think you could have, like, in that moment, I'm sorry, I'm
assuming Leia's gender. I mean that genuinely. I apologize.
You know, the Star Wars movies have conditioned us in such a way that, you know, blue and green are good, red is bad, Leia is girl, Luke is boy. So, you know, it's not our fault. But what was I gonna say? To be fair, like it is also crazy that Luther has survived this long in these movies, just in general. But he really has like secured a spot for himself in just the chair.
Oh yeah, no, Ving Rhames will never die because he'll always have a seat to sit in.
Didn't he almost die in the beginning of one of them?
He's barely in 4. He's only like a cameo in 4. I think is it Rogue Nation where it seems like he gets shot?
I thought that was the last one. I thought it was Fallout.
Oh, it might have been Fallout. I think there is one of them where it seems like he dies at the start.
Yeah, I think one of them has a moment where he is going to die, or Ethan can get the thing, and Ethan chooses to save him instead of get the thing. That's like the opening.
And I think that's Fallout because that leads to fake Wolf Blitzer. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, where was he in this movie? You know, just like a little newscast where like the device starts watching the guy and it's like, ooh, what's going on here? Wolf Blitzer's telling me something. And then that's just a clever ruse and it rips off his face and it's, you know, Haley Atwell, I guess this time or something. I don't know. That was incredible that they did Wolf Blitzer once.
Everybody loved it.
What do you guys, what were the predictions things that you were saying, DJ? That people pulled up from the past?
I went back into the last podcast when we did Fallout, and we talked about a bunch of different things. It was pointed out on the Phoenix Rises Discord that we were pretty good on the prediction for what would be next. Like, it wouldn't be nukes, it would be some higher level technology thing. We didn't have exactly AI, but like close. We had a discussion on directors, like, who would be good director for this? And Nando, you said that James Mangold would be a good director for this.
Well, maybe he would have, you know? Maybe this was the right spot for him.
Yes, but of course, I said it was Indiana Jones that won that prize.
You were looking into the future, and you saw James Mangold's name on a poster and assumed you got it.
Yep. I also think it was a foolish decision of me because, as we know from this and Logan, James Mangold makes movies about a man coming to terms with the fact that he's getting older, and that is the last thing these movies will ever do.
Tom Cruise would have to do that first, and he'll die before then.
No, thank you. He would rather fly a plane into the upper atmosphere than, you know, look at a birth certificate that says how old this character's supposed to be.
Or how old he is.
Or how old he is, yeah.
What else? Oh, so we were talking about like, what would like the next stunt be? Like, what's like the next big stunt?
Oh.
And we talked about, well, like they've already done, you know, motorcycles and mountains, you know, that's the whole thing. Like, what's left to do? And we didn't think to combine motorcycles and mountains.
Yeah.
You fools.
That's true, because this is Mission Impossible 2 was the motorcycle and the mountain climbing one.
Yes.
And yeah, they just smushed them together.
I think we can all admit that if I had been there, I would have predicted this exact movie down to the second.
Oh, obviously.
We can't prove that I wouldn't have, so I think we just have to believe that I would have.
Well, I mean, now that we have the opportunity, what's going to be the big stunt in the next one? Besides the thing that I already know, what else will they try to sneak into this?
So besides the thing that Nando already knows and has yet to tell us, there will also be another huge stunt in part 2, which is that in part 2, Tom Cruise is going to strip down to a Speedo and dive into the Arctic waters.
Yeah.
Where he then has to fight off an amorous dolphin while he swims down to the Sevastopol.
Ooh.
And this is all going to be actual free diving in freezing water that Tom Cruise is doing, and they're just filming with the James Cameron cameras.
I do think we're going to get a lot of bullshit behind the scenes videos of how long he can hold his breath. Like, I do think that's going to happen to some extent. Although they did a water thing in one of these, but they did it with lots of CGI, so it doesn't really count. Right? Wasn't one of these like about him getting flushed down a drain? No. Maybe. I think it's 5. Like one of the first Elsa one. One point they have to get through some security system. There's just a bunch of drains. I don't know.
Oh,
what about you, DJ? What do you think
next
next stunt's going to be?
Oh, it's
what
tough.
else haven't they done?
I mean, you know, space, the final frontier, right? Is that that's on the table?
He did the Halo jump, but yeah, he could do like a full going into space thing.
He's gonna actually jump into the vacuum of space, and we'll watch his body explosively decompress.
Yeah, he's gonna do the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, but for real.
And he's gonna look to the camera people and say, "Hey, listen, we gotta get this in one because I will die.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know what's left for him. Like, what other vehicles have not been touched? You know what? Honestly, now that you mention it, like you said it as a joke and we kind of brought it up because it's related to the other one. I think we could do horse. I think that makes sense. If it is like if the team has to go more analog and he has to ride a horse, you can try, but it's really hard.
This is one of those horses with a chip in its brain.
Yeah,
no.
right. And then the horse has like a little phone or something, and the little circles are on it. Oh no, it's got to him too.
Elon Musk put a chip in this horse's brain.
Oh no, Ethan, your horse is gonna jump off a bridge. No, it exploded.
Oh no, Ethan, your horse ran over 7 children.
As long as your horse can recognize this stop sign, Ethan, everything's gonna be okay.
Have we considered submersible? Is that the next?
Submersible was kind of part of mine.
So, like, submersible, yes, but like little mini submarine steering with a PlayStation controller. I don't know if we could do anything too close to the real submarine story, but I do think he's going to have to do something. Like, I just don't know what it is.
It's a tricky one.
Honestly, I could see us getting the end of this next movie because he has to go down to the sub and blow it up or whatever. Be kind of like the end of Avatar 2, where it's like trying to climb through the sinking thing, or like because obviously it already sunk, but like the further sinking thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like, guys, I know what it is. He gets in a knife fight with a megalodon. It's a crossover with the Meg
Oh
2.
My God, yeah.
Don't tempt me.
Jet skis, those little plane kind of things they have underwater in the first one. That'd be sick.
Has he ever done a jet ski stunt?
Feels like too tame for him.
Yeah, honestly, you'd have to do a really weird jet ski stunt. Like, it'd have to be down like a river or something.
Yeah, I'm saying you could do I'm not saying it's just a basic like, oh, he jumps on a wave in a jet ski. Like, it could be something crazy, but has he done jet ski stuff generally?
I don't think he's done it in this.
He could like jump out of a jet ski from a plane into the water.
Yeah. Yeah, he could like jump over a bridge on a jet ski or something. Or like over a big thing of fire. Like an RRR. He could do the whole thing with 2 guys, but just 1 guy.
Guys, while he's jet skiing, he jumps over a bunch of sharks.
Yeah.
And lands safely on the other side, and everyone cheers for him.
That would be pretty good. That would be that would really annoy the screenwriting AI. That'd be how you kill it with cringe.
He can jump a shark.
Yeah. Speaking of cringe and stuff, is this movie woke?
Ooh, is it woke?
It does kill a woman.
It does kill a woman.
So that a man will be sad about it.
And he is sad about it.
So that's pretty not woke.
And a woman's the bad guy, but the hero saves her and then she gets a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Thus proving that any woman can be saved by a man that she thinks is hot.
Yeah.
But also, America the bad guy, so woke?
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right. You're
That's
totally
true.
right.
The director of national intelligence is bad.
Yeah. I feel like that has to be...
But hold on, I can spin this.
Okay.
He's bad because he wants to secretly control the media and manipulate stuff behind the scenes so that he can rule the world. Like a certain other group of people Robert F. Kennedy could mention.
Oh, God.
Also, if you want some other non-woke stuff, this movie kills a lot of cops. Like, like we were saying, Pablo Clemente is massacring Italian police. And so is Gabriel. Now, they're the bad guys, but still, heroic Tom Cruise, the good guy, does not really do too much to stop that.
Yeah. Which, to anybody wondering when I'm going to bring it up, it's only a pork roast if it's indiscriminate slaughter by all sides. If the bad guys kill a bunch of cops, that's not a pork roast.
That's fair.
It's only when the movie exhibits a callous disregard for the lives of policemen, and also, crucially, does not think it's doing that.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's kind of not woke because, like we were saying, the bit where Haley Atwell pretends to be groped by Tom Cruise to get out of trouble. That's not too woke, is it?
Right, because that's what all women do.
Yeah, that's what just happens in real life, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on this. We also some Russians die in this early in the submarine thing.
And well, hold on. The Russians are the bad guys is a woke thing now?
Oh shit. I don't know. I don't know.
This is tough.
Question.
Yeah, Russians make this also tricky. I don't know. I'm going to say, you know what? Also, the little baby car. That's pretty woke. The little Fiat. A real man would drive a humongous car like the one that Punk Mentif has, but bigger.
Right, but the fact that he's driving a little baby car is a joke that we're supposed to think is funny.
It is funny when that happens. It's a good point.
Oh man, this is tough. This is a really hard one.
Isn't there a scene in this movie? Isn't part of the Shea Wiggum bit on the airport? Doesn't like accost some man in like a turban or something like that?
Oh yeah,
rip it off him like it's a disguise. He
accosts a few Arabian men because Luther is hacking the computers to make them tell him that that's Ethan.
So that's pretty woke because he doesn't see race at all. You know, he's an equal opportunity. You might be Ethan Hunt offender,
right? Because he's randomly selecting people to search to see if they're dangerous, and they all happen to be Arabian.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, they're all Arabian because he's in Dubai, but still,
that's true. I will say people take a train in this movie. I usually bring that up as like pretty woke, but the train is destroyed because it is an inferior method of transportation to the train is cool destroyed, motorbike.
And also it's like an old timey, like classic train for rich people. Yeah. And not like a modern like passenger rail that's affordable and like an alternative to cars. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like you're allowed classic trains in a non-woke. You just can't have like bullet trains or passenger rail or something.
That's fair. Also, White Widow, the Nepo baby, survives the movie, I think. So that's kind of woke.
She does.
That's not woke, you know? Because you figure if it was woke, she would die in a big explosion or something.
Wait, why would her dying be woke?
Because she's like a rich person, you know? Like she's a billionaire who needs to be punished by the movie, I would say. But because she survives, they like give her a second chance.
But also she's a woman.
Yeah, I know. It's tricky.
God, they really designed this in a lab for this question to be hard to answer, huh?
And the hardest part is, it's not a bomb, but it's not a hit either. It did okay at the box office. So, like, that, we can't even use that.
I know. I think, okay. We gotta just privately, right now, we all come to a decision. Count of three, we all say it, okay?
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1...
Not woke.
Oh.
So me and Diggins were not. DJ, were you a woke?
Yeah, I think it's woke.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tom Cruise is not woke. I can't.
Yeah.
God, you know what it is? Tom Cruise wanted to break the strike, so it's not woke. It's about as not woke as it can get. Yeah, it's tough with these movies because they're about the government rebelling against the government. Like, it's always a guy uses guns and his wits to solve the problem, but he's a well-meaning government. Like, if Alec Baldwin was still in these, I'd be like, it's woke, but he's not even in it anymore. And also, is he even woke? I don't know. It's tricky. I think we're going to have a lot easier time next week on both fronts.
Yeah, you think so?
I think so. Yeah, I'm just about willing to bet my bottom dollar on it. Anything else about this movie? What else we expect about the next one? Anything to look forward to? Do you think they'll kill Ethan Hunt if it's the last one?
No way. He's already said he'd be interested in doing more.
Yeah, I think there has to be just a little more into like the Gabriel and AI part of this. What if Gabriel's not actually a person? What if Gabriel's like some kind of weird, like robotic man?
Yeah, I could see it. That's why he lives in the pod. That only I can see.
Yeah.
DJ, you never weighed in on the existence of this pod. Did you remember the pod?
I don't remember the pod, but also like the way Stan is describing it, I'm like, wait, that must have happened.
I know, like,
well, and it's only because you're so suggestible.
That is true.
I'm not remembering it, like misremembering a scene from Oppenheimer or something when he goes into the mind control pod or something. Like, I feel like there's nothing else I've seen. Even like Secret Invasion doesn't even have anything like this, even though it has something that's kind of like this, but it's not the same thing. I almost want to go see it again just to see the pod.
Let's check on the pod.
Yeah.
Like, I swear I saw it.
Do you have one of those like unlimited theater subscriptions?
I think so.
Just go one afternoon. Don't pay money.
Like hour and a half into the movie just to see the pod. They'd be like, sir, this movie's almost done. I know, I'm just here for the pod scene and then I'll be fine. It's okay.
It's a pod
I came
for
for
my
some
pod.
popcorn and some pod. Yeah. All right. Well, do you guys want to get to our classic segment then?
Yeah.
I would love that.
All right. DJ, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
Maybe.
Oh, well,
all
that's
right.
great.
I'm so excited to hear the answer.
I mean, I finally started playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom so Diggins to stop making fun of me. And it rules, but that's like a bad thing to wreck because, this is a great video game that came out 2 months ago.
It is a great video game, though.
It is a great video game.
And most importantly, I look at the Link and Zelda in this game and I'm like, they're definitely kissing.
Ugh, yeah, boning down. You know what just came out that is of interest to nobody? Season 3 of Bluey. That came out.
That's of interest to many young children and their parents.
That's true.
Yeah, it's that show that parents say is good as like a coping mechanism because they have to watch it. I've heard this from multiple parents.
But like, wait, what do you mean like coping mechanism?
Like, it's like, they'll be like, I'll watch the new Bluey, and we'll go, oh, you gotta watch kids shows. And they'll be like, no, this is actually the good one, though. This one's actually pretty funny. And you're like, that's just your way of kind of making it so that one of these is watchable to you in your own brain.
You're kind of Stockholm syndroming yourself.
Yeah.
Nando, you're not familiar with the Bluey adult?
No, I am. These delusional adults, yeah.
No,
I feel like
these are adults.
Wait, hold on. Delusional adults.
Ooh, yeah.
But these are adults without kids who watch Bluey.
Oh, no, I did not know these.
Oh, yeah, this is the thing. There's like people who don't have kids who just like watch Bluey because they think it's like good quality television.
Were they fooled by friends with kids? Like, they drank the Kool-Aid?
Just seeing the banners on Disney Plus, like, oh, what's this Bluey show?
I mean, it's very popular. I feel like eventually I would kind of, out of curiosity, have to give it a look, but I don't think I could do it.
I mean,
it's the first thing that's ever justified the existence of Australia.
I mean, look, there's 7-minute episodes. A lot of them are like very heartfelt, like very sweet. The characters are great. There's one like legitimately, I think you could watch it and be made sad. In season 3, it's called Onesies. I think you can watch that and be like, oh my god, like what this is a kid show? It'll get you. It'll sneak up on you.
Is it the one where Bluey? I'm trying to think of like what a funny, very special episode is. Bluey's real dad comes and like tells him he doesn't love him anymore or something. Like Will Smith in that one show. Oh, Bluey's a girl?
A little girl.
But
it's Blue. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I can't take it.
The wokerati have come for our children, Nando. There's nothing you can do.
Guys, I have fantastic news.
What?
Okay. So I would never endorse this, but sometimes, just sometimes, you can Google a movie and find a streaming bootleg of it or something.
Oh God.
I found The Pod. It's a real thing. I didn't make this up.
Okay.
I can show it to you guys right now. Again, I'm not endorsing this. No one should do it. It's bad.
You should only do this to win arguments
only
about
do
whether
it to
there
win
was
arguments.
a pod in a movie.
If I could find The Pod in another way, I would, but I cannot. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen so just so you guys can see it, and I'm sure the reactions will people that are hearing this will understand what's going on.
Talk through this. So we're confirming that Gabriel is
there is a scene. Well, I'm not saying he's a robot, but I'm saying he sleeps in a pod that the computer like brainwashes him in.
I'm saying he's a robot. If this is the case, I don't think he is a flesh and blood person.
I think it's possible, but okay. So here they are. We are exactly 1 hour and 49 minutes and 49 seconds into this movie. Who could say? We're guessing. There's no way to know. And Haley Atwell, they just described the plan, and she's like, "It's not going to work. I'm leaving." This is that moment, right?
Oh my god!
Right.
I don't have the audio going, so I don't know what they're saying. It doesn't matter. I just know, like, the next thing that happens on the screen is Gabriel wakes up from the pod, and it's gonna happen eventually. We're really hanging on Tom Cruise's face here, and this is probably Tom Cruise saying like, "I have to kill Gabriel." Okay, yeah, because
I don't know. This doesn't look like a pod to me.
He's on the train. Here we go. It's
in Los Alpes Austriacos.
Yeah, is it? They're not on the Orient Express, are they? Is that still a thing?
That does not exist anymore. So
okay.
no.
I wasn't sure.
I think she does say that at one point. It does not exist anymore.
He does say that.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, so we got Palm Clementif, right? Because she's about to do mischief.
Mm-hmm.
Train mischief. Also, really funny little tumble she does here.
Yeah.
Like, she is inches from falling right off the train.
She's great.
Lorenz Sona would be like, woof. I really thought she would land that jump. Oh, well.
I think this is why. So the AI the AI was like probably made to target Ethan because that's always how these go. And the AI was like,
I forgot about this little scene where she flirts with the train guy to get the keys.
I like that too. That is good.
So the AI made Gabriel because the AI knew that.
Look what it is, guys.
right.
It's a pod that he sleeps in.
I do.
With the AI on it.
It's not a pod he sleeps in.
I know,
Stuck
but-
himself on board the train in a trunk.
I know, but the AI is on the trunk, like giving him information. That's more of it. Is like there's a point where he's getting brainwashed by the AI or something.
I think.
I thought
Okay,
that was an
I remember.
oxygen mask.
Yeah, that's what
But,
I
like-
thought too. That's why I didn't remember this.
Isn't the AI like on it or something? There's like a
There's
little.
a little blue light, but I thought
There's
it was
a
like
little
an
blue light.
oxygen mask.
I think
I-
that's.
I
I
just
do
took
think
that
it's
as-
an oxygen mask.
They snuck him in a like giant tuba trunk.
Yes.
And so in order for him to not suffocate, they gave him a little oxygen mask. I didn't take that as he is like one with the AI.
I think
Like-
that's how the AI tells him what to do and gives him all his little instructions with little like videos it plays for him. Because
So
is he
how
getting?
come Benji didn't do the math before when they were doing the plan for Ethan to jump on the train at the same point Palm Clementif did?
I
Hey,
don't know.
shut up.
I guess the train knew, or the AI knew what he would do, and then it like had her go on even further. So this is why this whole like the screenwriting knows everything.
Okay, there is the AI symbol on the mask.
It's up to
However,
something.
with the little things on it, I did think it was just an oxygen mask.
I guess I would believe it was an oxygen mask if it was just a mask, but I feel like there's like a TV screen under there or something telling him information.
I mean, we never see inside of it.
Yeah,
so
we don't
can't
see inside.
Confirm that.
I think he's
But
a robot.
otherwise, I think it's possible.
He's a robot made in the likeness of a man from Ethan Hunt's past because that's how you had to do it.
And otherwise, why not have him just jump on the train with what's her name? Why does he have
That's
to
it.
already be asleep on the train? He doesn't even bring anything helpful. He's just there. Yeah, he's probably a robot. Anyway, sorry I broke it to
No,
DJ's
it's okay.
Legend of Zelda. Tears
So
of the
yeah,
Kingdom.
if you have kids, check out Bluey. If you don't have kids,
All right.
like, maybe check out Bluey. I don't know.
What would you say it is like?
Oh, that's a tough one because it's one of these kid shows where the kid shows are always about like kids doing thing in like some context, but this is just about like a family like raising their two kids, and there's like a lot of play involved. So I think that's like what makes it so unique. Because it's not like Rugrats where it's like they're doing their own little like baby adventures and it's all about them because it's about the family. Like
Family.
good episodes. Takeaway is like a really good episode from season 1.
When you say good, like funny or like, what's the funniest episode?
The funniest episode,
Because if this is going to win me over, it's going to have to be that.
Like,
and I will watch one of them.
I think Bus is a really fun episode. That's also from season 1. I think that's like a really funny one, but it's like really like wholesome. Like there's some where it's like, oh my god, that's like so hilarious. It's just like a wholesome, like cutesy funny, where it's like, you know, you really just want to reinforce that like the mom and dad love each other and they're really good at taking care of their kids.
I think it's actually dangerous if you're going to let Jackson watch this show, DJ, because you'll be setting an extremely unrealistic standard for how frequently and how much parents are willing to drop everything to play ridiculous pretend games.
Big facts. Big facts.
You know what you need is a Mithrigan that can do all the bluey bullshit. Like
Yes!
a bluey-shaped Mithrigan. That'll solve the problem.
I like that. So yeah. Sorry.
You should be.
I'm terribly sorry. But
You should be.
yeah, that's like, you know, my rec is that Gabriel did in fact sleep in a pod.
He slept in some
That means
sort
it's
of
sleeping
pod.
He's a robot.
He slept in a trunk. That's different from a pod.
Whatever.
The pod is the face mask. That's the pod part. He's a pod person.
Gabriel's a robot confirmed. All right, Diggins, get into there with some actual recs.
Yeah.
All right, I just have a couple quick ones. A new rec and an old rec. My new rec is season 2 of the After Party.
Hell
Stunt,
yeah.
guys.
It's back, baby.
It's a good show. I enjoyed those first 2 episodes. I haven't watched the third one yet. It just came out today.
Third one's pretty good. What's your favorite line from the first 2? Did you love the line?
You're gonna have to tell me what the line is. I probably did love it, but I
It's
watched
just-
it last week.
It's a funny line that has no business being in the show, or like it's not really about anything. It ends a scene and you hear it and you're like, what did someone just say? And you go back and you're like, that is what they said. And it really got in my brain. And I told my sister about this. I was like, you're going to watch After Parties. Look out. It's episode 2. Somebody says a thing that's so weird. And then she texted it to me immediately when she watched it.
God, I feel like I can imagine the shape of it in my mind, and I can't think of the specific line.
We'll talk about it off air because I don't want to ruin the moment for people. But episode 2 has a line that might be one of the funniest things I've heard all year.
Okay. But yeah, no, I've been really enjoying it. The first one is, of course, just the basic Anik love story or like rom-com episode. The second one, they did like a Regency romance. Which I thought was cute. I like the jokes in it, and also I thought they actually just did a decent job of like showing a romance where I'd be like, I see why this woman loves this extreme weirdo.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I like the setup of all the characters we've got. I'm excited to see all their different stories. I can't imagine what the genre is going to be for some of them.
I mean, if you watch the intro, it kind of goes through them. I don't know who's getting what, but like I think I have kind of figured it out. Although the one character who I thought was getting one genre is getting another, so I'm going to be a little. I feel like I'm not sure. I'm curious about Jancho. He's the one that I thought I knew what he was getting, but it turns out he's not.
Yeah, that guy's story is going to be bizarre. Probably. He's
so weird. I love him. I think he's just so funny in a lot of things. So like, I'm glad he's like the star in this one, kind of.
But yeah, so that's great. If you liked season 1, you should definitely watch this season. Having a good time with it. Old thing I want to rec, which is also like a thing that probably doesn't need my rec, but you guys have seen the movie Heathers, right?
I have seen. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I'm aware of Heathers, and yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's a really great movie. If you're not aware of it, it's from the 80s. It's Winona Ryder and Christian Slater. And it's like a satire of like the John Waters style, or John Hughes style.
I was going to say, I haven't seen Heathers in that long, but pretty sure it's not a John Waters movie.
John Hughes, it's a satire of John Hughes style movies.
Yes.
Of like, teens going around doing stuff, becoming friends, etc. Kissing boys and or girls. It's a satire because it's extremely dark. It's about a girl who has like ingratiated herself with the popular girls by forging report cards and stuff for them, meeting a boy, Christian Slater, who she falls for, and him kind of tricking / leading her into a campaign of murders that they disguise as suicides. And it just becomes this like black comedy riff on like teen suicide, on like homophobia in the 80s, on a whole bunch of stuff that I think it does it all really well. I mean, obviously it's from the 80s. There's some stuff in there that has not aged amazing. But all things considered, I think it does a really good job of like satirizing the more like, not necessarily wholesome, but more like idealized cinematic vision of the teenage experience. And like showing something like harsher with more bite that's perhaps a little more true. Like obviously extremely exaggerated and over the top, but in doing so, a little more true to how bad high school can be sometimes. So yeah, that's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. I rewatched it recently. It's still great. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to rec?
So like, I haven't really watched too much stuff this week. I'm also watching After Party. Also love it. Third episode's funny. I do think the second one so far is maybe my favorite. I will say the other thing that I was really excited about this season, besides all the stars that I already like, and like people like, like your John Cho's and your Sam Richardsons and what is Chang's real name? The dad.
Ken Jeong.
Ken Jeong. Yeah, I'd love to see him. But I was kind of, I watched it, like I started it and I remembered, oh right, the guy who plays Gabe from The Office is in this. Zach Woods. And then super short spoiler, he's the one who's killed. And I got bummed. I was like, I really like him. He's really funny. It's a bummer he's not going to be on the show. And then I remembered, oh wait, he is on the show. It's all flashbacks and he's really funny. I loved him on Silicon Valley. He was like really, really good at that. And yeah, I'm glad he's getting more time to shine. But yeah, I think that shows just something else. It's awesome. Besides that, watching Secret Invasion, it is what it is.
It's a stirring endorsement.
Never has a movie been more what it is than Secret Invasion, or show for that matter. Yeah. I will say I did watch a movie. that we'll talk about next week that I think is quite good. But I don't want to go into too much detail on that. Besides, just it's good, and if you think it's gonna be good, it's everything you expect.
I wonder I'm not talking which about one. I was gonna say, I wonder which one people think you're talking about right now.
I think if people watch my YouTube videos or like have seen it, I put out a review for you today, so that should help. But yeah, Oppenheimer is the one that I think is that I have seen. So I haven't seen Barbie, so no judgment. But I feel like it's pretty good. I think there's something for everybody, but there's very few people who I'd be like, you're not going to like it. I would say if you were wronged personally in some way by Cillian Murphy, probably not for you. It's a lot of him in it. But besides that, a lot of good stuff there. I don't think I've watched her.
If the movie else. Red Eye actually happened to you in real life, then maybe don't see Oppenheimer.
Rachel McAdams, stay away. I usually say, Rachel, come see these movies. You're going to have a great time. But I would say this is one movie Rachel McAdams should probably skip. And it's a bummer because I think she'd love it. She's got great taste in general. You know what I watched that I think is funny? I don't know if I'd wreck this. And I'm still watching the Superman show. That's still fine. I think What We Do in the Shadows came back. Haven't caught up yet. I watched everybody, it seems like, and sometimes you see like wide shots and you're like, oh, everyone's doing this. There are maybe a bazillion versions of that Rogers musical that's currently playing in Disney just on YouTube because everyone just records it with their phone when they're there. So if you've ever wanted to watch it, you can, and it's okay. It's about as good as something like that probably would be. It's kind of cute.
I didn't see it live.
What's up?
I'm so bad I couldn't see it live.
I know, I think you could build a good musical around this and bring it to Broadway, and I'm not convinced that's not what they're trying to do, but, it's only like a half hour long, so it's not like a full thing.
Right.
But, for what it is, it's good enough.
That's what I always shoot for. Good enough.
Soaring endorsement.
Exactly, and that's all it needs to be. No, and I guess I'm still loving Midnight Suns. I'm getting pretty far into it.
It's a great game.
It's really, as much as the game wants to be like Midnight Suns, it's the adventures of Hunter and Magic and their third friend who go do the mission. And it's usually pretty good. You'll do okay. Although I wish you could change their name from The Hunter,
Yeah.
So,
if you want voice acting, you got to do these things.
I know. Just have them give me a pronoun or something instead. Just say, oh, it's you, or like, hey, he's over there, or whatever. But
no, like in Final Fantasy X.
Exactly.
Where they still let you name the main character and no one else. But because you could name the main character, everyone's just like, oh, hey, you.
Mm-hmm.
Get over here.
What's he up to? What is he thinking? You really notice it after a while.
Come on, hero.
Yeah, I'd prefer it because I built my character because I was like, I don't want to do a self-insert or like a random character. They're like, who can this character kind of be? I'm like, oh, it's like, I'll do like Elsa Bloodstone. It's a woman with red hair and a ponytail. And I'm like, this is kind of close. But they just keep calling this character Hunter, you're Hunter. Even characters are asking them, like, is your full name The Hunter? And I'm like, shut up. We're having fun until you just said that, Blade. We're in the doghouse now. But anyway, it's a cool game. I think they should I don't know if they're making another one, if it sold well, but I hope they make more. Next week, the Barbie Oppenheimer poll thing.
Are we really going to do that?
As long as you guys are both cool with having seen both of them by then, might as well.
I definitely will.
I fully intend to have seen both of them by the time we record.
This is going to be a disaster.
It will be a disaster. Maybe we'll start getting them confused,
Yeah, they're so similar. It's going to be hard to keep them straight in my mind.
Yeah, thematically, I don't know what the deal is with Barbie, but I hear it's somewhat existential.
Are we going to do two IMDb B as in spelling bees? Or,
oh, God.
Like, what's the idea there?
Is it just going to end? Like, are we going to do one, like, each of us has to write the mega thing where, like, it's the first summary and then, like, so you have to do the Barbie summary and then put the word meanwhile and then do the Oppenheimer summary or something.
Oh, I love that, actually.
Make one big movie out of it that doesn't quite work. Something like that, I guess. Until then, DJ, do you have anything to plug?
Just Roses and Rejections. Where
DJ, did you hear about the Bachelor news, by the way?
The Golden Bachelor?
Old man Bachelor, yeah!
Wow, they're going to dip the Bachelor in molten gold this season?
That's right. James Mangold is making a Bachelor season about an old man at the end of his life, looking back on his mistakes or whatever.
Being on The Bachelor.
It's pretty good.
It's the first mistake he made.
But we do cover that on the podcast, the first septuagenarian bachelor. I'm curious to see how that turns out. And
are all the women still going to be in their 20s?
No, they're all going to be over 65 because that would be like insane otherwise, right?
It'd be pretty funny if they were like, instead of the bachelors are usually 30 and now he's 75, and the bachelorettes are usually 30 and now they're 35 or something. Like they scale them up a little bit, but not quite.
But yes, we do talk about that. And also check out on the Pop Break TV podcast, the Socially Distanced Pod, where Michelle and I talk Secret Invasion. So that's it was a lot of fun.
This bachelor has some blackface in his closet. We're going to find out about some like classic blackface. Diggins, what about you? Do you have anything to plug?
No. What about you, Nando?
I have videos, movies, stuff like that. Put out my Fancasting the Authority Part 2 video. Put out my Midnight Suns pitch for like what you could do in a Marvel movie that they'll never make because they're not going to make any more movies or whatever. So, if you ever wanted to imagine that, this is as close as you'll get. And then I've done some Nando Cup videos on like this year's weird box office and some of the reactions to it. I have a Secret Invasion video that's going to go up very soon, and an Oppenheimer review. We'll see what else. I was thinking about doing one about the Miss Marvel thing. I think it's weird, but I don't hate it, but I'm just torn. But yeah, so check that out on the Nando Cut. And next week, it's Barbie Oppenheimer. Until then, I've been at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Man.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.